Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 206 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name is GarrettDrake. I'm joined across the table by your newest permanent member of the It's Obvious podcast for this episode only, Zach Bynum.
How are you doing, GarrettDrake? It's
Jacob,
been a long time.
Not Jacob. I'm so used to talking to Jacob. Zach, I'm doing well. I've heard something recently. Is it true?
You know, a lot of people are asking if I'm back. And yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
It's good to have you back.
Dude, I had to throw in a little Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
I was doing some research on the memes and the hot topics before I came on today.
Perfect time.
He's number one.
Yeah, he's top of the list of memes right now, so I think you chose the right intro line there. Jacob's also joining us via Skype. Jacob, how are you?
I'm great, man. Have you seen the memes of the little, like, John Wick and then he's standing next to a miniature version of him?
Yes.
And it's like the me and my dad meme. Or it's like me and my son. This shit's so funny. But I'm doing great, man. How are you, Zach? Zach, I haven't seen you in a couple months.
It has been a couple months. I've been doing very well. Lots and lots and lots of work, and surprisingly a decent amount of video games in my life.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, it's been nice.
That's great, because this is, believe it or not, a video game podcast, which we tend to rarely speak about video games, it seems. We try to stay on topic, but oftentimes we drift off into the unknown, which we will do plenty of today because there was, again, minimal news. We're in the dead summer months of the video game industry, post E3, of course. But we're going to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming, which we're excited about. I know many of us have seen the film. Perhaps you haven't. We will avoid spoilers until after community questions today, which those will be a doozy as well, so we're excited. But we are sitting in Zach's apartment, far away from where I live. Not terribly far, but just close enough for me to travel to and fro every now and again.
A light trek.
Yeah, a light trek. And we have, or Zach, I should say, has very, very nicely decorated the table here. What do we have here? We want to explain for us?
Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Black Series action figure.
Unboxed.
Unboxed, correct. The
Right.
Collectible, at least to me, from Revenge of the Sith. Then we have a 3D unicorn mug, my Attack of the Clones mug.
One of my personal favorites.
Thank you. It's a beautiful one to drink out of. And then we have the Infinity Gauntlet, Star-Lord's helmet, a New Girl mug that I got from my wife for Christmas, and Santa Claus's head.
Great. Now, did you decapitate Santa yourself, or was it gifted to you on a platter?
I conspired with the elves.
Oh, the elves.
That's what it came down to. Yeah. So
Did they use toys they had crafted themselves to remove
we
the
made
head from
him
the Santa
vegan
Claus?
cookies, and he was ungrateful. So
I
I
wonder
can already see
why.
where the story's going.
it was his fault. Listen, you can't taste the difference.
You need to say no more. I understand.
I can't believe he didn't like the vegan cookies.
What an asshole.
I can't believe Santa
That
these
fat
days.
bastard.
The nerve.
That nerve of that bearded jolly man.
Old St. Nicholas.
Yeah. Great guy, but it's great to have his head on the table along with the rest of them, including Star-Lord, who you portrayed it once upon a time. Didn't you? Or did you know the guy?
I knew Star-Lord pretty well.
Yeah.
Once upon a time in the magical land
You know
of
a
Disney
few people
World.
at Disney
Yeah, I
World.
was friends with quite a few folks. Star Wars. I was friends with Star Wars.
I can see that based on your mug there.
I only use this mug when discussing.
The finest movie in the saga.
That's right, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's only when I have to aggressively negotiate for diplomatic solutions is when I use that.
And the
mug.
negotiations are certainly often short.
They are.
So
I can't
it's
do
good to have
this.
you back, Zachy.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have a third voice in the podcast. I will say we are still missing Preston. He is the busiest man I know, far busier than I have been in a while now, a couple weeks. So he's in our thoughts.
For a while
He's in
now,
our
a couple
prayers. We hope
weeks.
he returns safely to the podcast in the near future.
Absolutely, I miss Preston. I've not seen
I'm actually
that
going to
man
give him
in
a
long
call
time.
here when we get talking about Spider-Man, see if we can talk for a few
let's
minutes.
do it. I would enjoy that.
It's been too long.
Can you believe it's been 3 years since I've been on here?
2016. We
3
checked.
years.
Last time Zach was on was the episode where we auditioned for Mass Effect Andromeda, which we
That's
did
right.
not get the parts. Actually, we did get the parts. We did the voices of the entire cast, and we were so good at the voices they let us do all the animation for the faces ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is why they were so well renowned.
I was waiting for royalty checks, but I still haven't gotten mine.
That's all right, Zach. In place of the royalty checks, we have a damn fine cup of coffee here that you've brewed yourself. What are we having tonight?
We're having some Costa Rican blend from Javalia, a Swedish-based coffee company who I guess, have traveled from Sweden by boat or plane, scooped up some Costa Rican beans, and brought it to my front door this morning.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal brew.
It is. It's a great brew.
Remaining caffeinated and ready to talk about all sorts of things. Jacob, what are you sipping on this evening?
Just plain old water, man. It's nothing exciting. I wish I had a fine
you tend
brew.
to bore us all, Jacob, and you're continuing to do so.
Wow, bro.
You know what, dude? That's the lifeblood.
I'm just kidding, man.
All right?
That's the coffee talking.
All right, bro.
We're a little tipsy on that
that sweet caffeine.
that ground dirt we're sipping.
That frothy bean water.
What's that thing you sent earlier? The Dr. Pepper's just barbecue juice and barbecue water?
Dr. Pepper is just barbecue water.
When I thought about that, I'm like, it's not totally wrong how Preston calls Barks, not just Barks root beer in general, he calls it pepper juice.
Pepper juice?
And he calls Sprite lettuce water. And when you hear those terms, you can't ever not taste it.
Just take a sip of those 3 beverages and think about it, and you'll realize that it's right.
It's a trifecta of soft drinks for sure. I feel like I had confession. Last week, my video, not Jacob's, only lasted 30 minutes because the Sony A7 III is locked to recording at a max of 30 minutes, which is unfortunate because my GH4, which is a far less superior camera, can record up to however long we want. And so I brought the wrong camera again, so you only get 30 minutes of video this week. Hopefully you don't care for much more than that, but if you want more video than that, I will use my other camera from here on out. So we're trying to be consistent with video on the podcast, of course, for YouTube. And speaking of video, Jacob, what are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow I am...
Before or after? Let's say the only time I don't have tomorrow is between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. What are you doing before or after that?
In the morning I am watching my brothers.
Okay.
For my parents. And then after that I'm going to the gym. And that is it.
Tomorrow night, you want to shoot a video together? From our respective homes?
What's the video? What are we doing?
Anything you want. Anything. We can play Apex Season 2. We can play any other game we have on PC that I don't know if we have the same games aside from Apex. But my point in asking, Jacob, is that it's high time we commit to what we say we want to do, which is make a new video. And I'd love to kick the YouTube channel back into high gear as we've been talking about. And I think we just need to decide and make it happen.
I agree. Let's do it. Tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow evening, anytime after 8 p.m. Sound good?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool. We'll see if it actually happens. I got a good feeling about it, though. Anyway, let's hear from Zach. Zach, it's been 3 years since you've been on the podcast. We talk about you all the time. We miss you to bits. We wish it was always a plan, as we've said. Any of you who are new since the last 3 years Zach has been on, Zach is one of our closest friends, and he was always meant to be the 4th member of It's Obvious Gaming.
I was a forefather.
You were.
Of this.
He was there in the beginning talks before it ever existed, and he was in our very first YouTube video that never aired. That I still have the record. Actually, I don't have the video. I have the image proving that he was there on day one. We never uploaded that video because it was so bad.
Wow. I like vaguely remember that.
Yeah, we played Towerfall Ascension. There was the 4 of us on that couch.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was my mom was working night shift at the time when I was still at my parents' house, and she was trying to sleep and we were too loud. She kept coming in, telling us to be quiet, so we were like whispering, like we were putting on an act because we weren't comfortable in our own skin on camera yet. So we'd be like, "Oh, dude, I totally killed you there. You suck, man." We're like talking at that.
Dude,
level.
good game, man.
Oh, good game, guys. Hey, guys, what's up? This is It's Obvious Gaming. We were talking. It was just the cringiest thing you've ever seen. We're still cringy to this day, but that was way worse. So it never aired. But Zach's been on a few episodes. He's back. Wish he could be back every week.
I know.
Just tell us about what's going on in your life that you're willing to share.
Let me jog you up real quick. So one of the last times I was on with you fellas, I remember because I just went back and actually listened to that episode because I was like, when was the last time I was on this podcast? Because I am a weekly listener, believe it or not. And
We're honored.
Sit and dream of the days where I could be with my boys again. But in one of those last videos, I had mentioned my girlfriend at the time and knowing her for 2 months. Well, I've now been married to that beautiful woman for 1.5 years.
Congrats.
So it's been a crazy road. Moved back to Georgia in a small little college town. Changed jobs. You're
in a frat now, right?
Yeah. Chai
a
latte.
Kappa Dappa?
Yeah. Chai latte.
Chai latte.
Chai latte. We're a coffee house frat, and I don't attend college.
And shout out to the frat for providing the brew this evening.
Yeah, thanks, Chai Latte. We appreciate it.
You were hazed for this bag of coffee, right?
I was. They brewed it to about 350 degrees.
Exactly.
Poured it on my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty brutal stuff.
You still wear the scars today.
I do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Got married, moved back to Georgia.
You have a doggy now, too.
I do have a doggy now, a cute little doggy. He is a Dachshund Corgi mix. His name is Archie, and he's adorable. He has one ear that is permanently popped and another one that is permanently drooped. Mm-hmm. So he's just
You call that the old pop and a droop.
We call it that. We call him Papa Droop.
Yep. That's his name, and he and I have quite the bond already.
He is in love with Garrett.
I like to think I'm his uncle or his
You are.
his
You're
godfather.
Uncle Gary.
Yeah, Uncle Gary.
So yeah, Garrett came here for the first time a couple weeks ago, spur of the moment, and Archie fell in love with him and would go into the room that he slept in and just whine for like days after.
Oh,
I could feel the connection. I whined in my own apartment. I got down on all fours like an animal and whined and howled.
And I gave you those dog biscuits to go in case you got hungry.
Yeah, I nibbled on him in Archie's memory. I think you'd love Jacob too, because animals have a fondness towards Jacob.
Oh no,
I mean I have a fondness towards Jacob.
I love
we've
Jacob
discussed
too.
this. I mean,
I like it when Jacob pets me.
Everything about the man is very, very attractive.
I got a soft touch.
Yeah, very soft touch. He has baby skin.
Well, Leia, Jacob, if you remember, she's spending a little time with us this past couple of days, and that's what I told Cass is that when all of y'all came over for our boys' lake weekend a few years ago, you and Garrett were the only ones that Leia was like comfortable actually sitting next to because she's a paranoid schizophrenic cat in the form of a small dog.
Yeah.
So she doesn't trust hardly anyone.
Mm-hmm. She looks like a coconut donut when she's curled up in a ball.
She does. She does resemble a coconut donut.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lot of things, but mainly I'm pretty sure she's an immortal being that is not from this dimension.
Certainly from the multiverse.
Yeah, she is from the multiverse.
She probably came over here with Mysterio.
She rode in on Mysterio's back.
Right.
But
came out of his fishbowl. You know what's going on in there.
But yeah, that's been 3 years. Changing states, changing jobs, getting married, playing little video games here and there.
What have you been playing?
So, still do a decent amount of FIFA. I feel like me casually playing, the best decision I ever made was getting EA access, just because it was fairly cheap through the year, and I could just hop on and just kind of play randomly, just Battlefront.
So you're saying you're funding the supervillains of the game industry?
Yes, I am.
How could you?
It's part of my plan to get in and take them down from the inside.
So you're
he's a freedom fighter.
covert agent.
Yes. So I am a freedom fighter
Nice.
for the People's Gaming Union against EA.
You're gonna be Ben Rector in there with you to take him down.
Yes, Ben Rector is coming with me in concert.
I love that shirt.
Thank you. It's an incredibly comfortable shirt.
All about
I have
good
a
Ben
fond. I just have an appreciation for anybody who can make a music tee that is just incredibly comfortable and it doesn't shrink. You know what I mean? It's not just like, here, buy our merch real quick, and then you wash it once and you're like, never mind, I guess I'll give it to my 3-year-old brother.
I've been through so many bad t-shirts, like band t-shirts, from getting because we used to go to so many concerts and stuff.
We did, and we would all get that one $15 to $20 band tee on the back wall from the merch guy who hadn't eaten in 3 days, and he needed us to buy that shirt. But yeah, no, Ben Rector, all of his stuff was like every single article of clothing was on that wall was like nice. Still to this day, the best merch I've ever bought was that blue jean jacket that was from the Devil Wears Prada. That is the most comfortable, like nice,
cool jacket too.
Blue jean jacket. Got it for $55, and I still wear it like every fall.
Yeah.
So Devil Wears Prada, shout out. Thanks.
Speaking of them, perfect timing. I just realized, one, we're both wearing band merch. Secondly, Devil Wears Prada designed this shirt for Ghost Inside shortly after their bus wreck. Yeah, and they sold it to provide proceeds.
Oh,
for the
wow. I forgot about that. I forgot that they did that for him.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's nice.
So shout out to Devil Wears Prada. Shout out to Preston Pugh.
Shout out to The Ghost Inside. Shout out to Ben Rector. Shout out to shout outs for shouting out shout outs.
Exactly.
Shout me out.
Shout out to video games that you've been playing. Aside from FIFA, what have you been playing?
Well, recently, me and Garrett always keep Halo 3 installed on the hard drive, just ready to go whenever we can sneak a peek. And we've pretty much done that since 07's when it came out, so 12 years.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I've logged more hours onto Halo 3 than I've logged definitely onto any other video game in my life. So a lot of Halo 3. I feel like I've just randomly played through stuff, and it's like I re-downloaded Knights of the Old Republic. It kept going through all the backwards compatible lists till I got to Xbox One. Played through that again. That was kind of recently. Played through Skyrim again recently.
Did you play in third person again?
Pardon?
I remember you played Skyrim in third person. You're like the only person I knew that played in third person.
Oh yeah, that's true. Most of it was in third person. I downloaded all the Star Wars mods.
Nice.
Just wanted to see.
You have a lightsaber?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah. The moon was Coruscant.
No way.
Yeah, it was great. The Xbox One mods for Skyrim were actually really good.
Did the lightsaber make lightsaber noises?
Oh yeah, it was, but you couldn't tell a difference. And I modded things so heavily that most things felt like I was within some Star Wars world.
That is
especially
so
with
cool.
like when I was out in the wilderness and it looked like Coruscant was the moon.
Yeah.
I'd have like double blades. I got enough to where it looked like I was wearing full Jedi tunics. Someone made Kylo Ren armor in that game.
That's awesome.
So
did enemies have lightsabers?
No, it was just me. I mean, well, they could pick mine up, I think, if I dropped. They eventually got to the mod where the lightsaber fully came out and extended. Originally, you could just tell it was a blade over a sword.
Mm-hmm.
I think the funniest thing I ever did is I went into Whiterun as Kylo Ren with my lightsaber, and I had modded in every single main character from the Lord of the Rings and gave them red lightsabers, and we busted into this bar and just murdered everyone through this entire village. Literally Kylo Ren, and then all the hobbits, just everyone from Lord of the Rings. And yeah, a little bit after that, I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
That's a good time.
So yeah, it was an excellent time. I'm trying to think of, I've really played a whole lot else. It's just been like random jumping around. Battlefield 5, right? The most recent one. So when it came out, I adored it. I thought it was incredible. I enjoyed Battlefield 1, so I knew I would like it. I love the sniping mechanics in it. But when they did the first, time to kill ratio, when they did the first update for it, just immediate garbage. I like couldn't stand it anymore.
You were one of many who thought that too.
Yeah, just terrible. Then they put it back, but to me it still seemed off. And then I ended up just dropping video games for a while after that. But Firestorm came out, and I'll say like out of all of the battle royales, that's for some reason has just been the most entertaining for me. I don't know if it's just because I've happened to be able to play with actual friends more times on Battlefield. And as you know, any game where you can actually just get on with your friends and play is more entertaining.
Yeah.
So Firestorm, I really had an incredible time with that, especially once I got good. That was a lot of fun. I've been playing a decent amount of Apex, jumping around.
One thing I've always, sorry to interrupt you, but one thing I've always loved about Battlefield is I love how the storm looks, like how it's literally like a big flame just charging in at you. I just think it looks like visually really pleasing.
Dude, I wish exactly because of that reason. I wish I need to send you this video that I recorded on Xbox. Me and Raven were playing.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part is you'll just, like any other battle royale game, you get to a point where you are like, you have to loot a certain area, but the storm is just like ridiculously close.
Yeah.
So they have like the mini helicopters in there. And so he gets it and is like flying, and I like know the storm's coming, but I'm like looting all these last boxes, and he like drops right in front of me, slams the helicopter on the ground. I like jump in slow-mo and like look behind me, and the fire's like roaring on the tail of the helicopter. Looks like something out of a Schwarzenegger movie.
It's thrilling.
Yeah.
Kind of making me want to play it now.
Yeah, it really is exciting. We should go a couple rounds tonight in that.
Okay.
You should get your hands on it. I know
See what
last
I'm made
time
of.
you saw me mess around with it. Apex, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I think it mechanically is just amazing. Feels great.
Yeah.
Looks
It feels like
beautiful, but
Titanfall.
I'm garbage at it, so that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I have the most random things on Apex where I will just like one match after another just get absolutely destroyed, and then all of a sudden I'll go in a match and get 7 kills and get a champion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is? I don't understand. But I don't play it consistently enough, so it's fair that I'm not that good. I've been lucky enough to get in and have some great teams. I just love Gibraltar so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
He's a
don't.
thick
It's probably
boy.
because he reminds me of Uncle Tito from Rocket Power.
Yep.
So I just pretend that I'm running around as Uncle Tito. Come here, cuz. Yeah, I think
Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, Master Chief Collection.
At least you and I today.
Yeah, we re-downloaded on my Xbox over here and played some of that. That was fun hopping back into that.
It was.
I forgot how much fun I had playing Halo 4.
Mm-hmm.
because me and you have always done Halo 3, but I forgot. Like, we had a lot of fun on Halo 4. We were really good at Halo 4.
That's some great Warthog action today.
Oh, yeah. We annihilated some people today on Halo 4. Rainbow Six Siege. I've definitely gotten back into that recently. They came out with a new Western Showdown mode.
It looks pretty cool.
It was cool. It's just ridiculously hard to aim with the revolvers and shotguns. So I got a little bit better at that. It just happens in this one little town. So yeah, I've been playing a little bit of Siege lately. Andy's been pretty good at Siege, so I've kind of followed his lead on staying a little more tactical. That is like the one game where even if you want to run and gun, it's like almost impossible. Like someone's gonna have you down in like 30 seconds. But yeah, I really think that's it. Nothing crazy. I honestly haven't played a lot of new releases. I'm sure y'all could tell probably the one game I'm hyped for this year. I'm sure you can guess in like 3 seconds.
Call of Duty?
No.
Something else coming out
Don't you really
this
like Roblox?
Is it robots or
Roblox.
Guys, what's a game that's coming out this year that you think me of all people?
Fallen Order.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. For a second, I was like, what else is coming out
guys,
this year?
what is wrong
Wait,
with
I keep
you?
forgetting that's
the new
coming for
John
some
Wick
reason.
game.
Yeah, I'll play some John Wick.
I actually heard that was really good.
Oh, man. That movie was incredible. I love this
Chapter
movie
3.
so much. And can I say that I just love how much the world has just taken in Keanu Reeves?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just an awesome guy. And I just love all of this attention.
Why
he's
don't you
getting.
marry him, Zach?
Okay, maybe I will. You jealous?
No, dude. I was kidding.
So maybe me and him hung out a few times.
Garrett, I
What's it to
thought
you?
that me and you were a thing.
Oh, yeah. So, whoa, hold on. We have a different subject to discuss right now.
No, dude.
So, I'm sitting in my car to and fro from work going, oh, I miss my best friends. I'm going to listen to the podcast. Then you two are both like, oh, it's so good to look at your muscles. Oh, I love you.
Dude,
it's great. What's that all about? Don't touch me, man.
We're just kidding, dude. Like,
It's a joke,
Jacob's just some guy I met.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't
Just like
kidding.
play
What are you
games sometimes
saying?
and just talk about them. Like, that's it.
Okay.
What are you
all
saying
right,
right
sure.
now?
Yeah, whatever, man.
Jacob, don't worry about it, dude. I'm just here at Zach's
you're
apartment.
just saying what he wants to
We're
hear.
just hanging out tonight.
Listen,
I'm
Jacob,
gonna stay the night just because I'm tired and don't want to drive back.
Oh.
And we might share a bed just because
Hey, Zach,
wanna,
what's your
we wanna
address?
save energy.
I
and
think I'm going to come down tonight.
that's I'm just trying to keep.
Yeah,
it real.
I mean, listen, Jacob, me and you are fine. Garrett just thinks he can play both sides. And listen, we need to. How about me and you get together and we just kick him out of this?
Jacob, don't respond to that, pal. You don't have to. That's if he's even still there.
Jacob?
Are you there, Jacob? I don't know if he is. We may have one of those issues. I have to. Oh, there he's
Oh,
gone.
yeah. How convenient for him to leave.
Hopefully, he's still recording. He should be. I'm calling Jacob.
Oh, this dial tone is nice.
Anyway, not Jacob. I'm so used to just talking to Jacob on this
Yeah,
podcast.
it's a little disrespectful.
Zachary.
See where your interests lie.
Zachary Daiquiri.
Yes.
What about life? Anything coming up you're looking forward to that you want to share? Tell us about your excitement for Fallen Order. What do you think of the demo, at least?
I loved it. So, are these rumors true that they've actually taken down the violence as far as the lightsaber mechanics go? Because I saw an article that is calling for it to be
reduced.
Correct.
That's interesting because
Like,
it's like not that violent to begin with,
Right, but
well,
I think,
I should say in terms of a Jedi like pulling someone and stabbing them, I can see why for a Jedi
I think
that'd
the
be too violent.
dismemberment thing is what is.
Okay, so that's already not in there. I read that Respawn was asked like, why isn't there dismemberment? Because people have always, even myself included.
Oh, maybe I just felt like I saw it during the.
I thought I did too. Jacob did not pick up. He'll call us in a second.
Okay.
Maybe
I just thought that I saw it, but I guess whatever lightsaber combat or lightsaber slashing or almost dismemberment in the little run through they had there. Apparently, I think Disney was getting some pushback from it.
Yeah. Respawn was asked why there isn't, well, at least why there wasn't dismemberment in the demo, and Respawn said in select sequences in the game there is. I'm assuming like various cutscenes and like certain moments, like a main villain got his hand cut off or something, but just actively while you're facing off against NPCs and various cannon fodder enemies, there won't be like cutting guys in half and chopping their heads off because Disney won't allow it.
Right, which I get.
Which I also give. I just wish Disney would be fine with a company just letting a
having
company
them
go
full
wild.
creative control.
Granted, someone could eventually mod this game to have dismemberment, like even the Jedi Outcast games and Jedi whatever they're called had mods to where you could cut off arms and legs and heads and stuff.
Right.
But I've always wanted a game that's just made that way from the
Agreed.
get-go.
And I mean, you got to think like the merger with Fox and them taking over Deadpool.
Yeah.
And they were strongly advised, hey, you have Deadpool now. You probably want to keep this thing, or you're going to lose like half the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's just, I'm with you where like some company, I wish they could have just been like from the get-go, this is what we're going to have, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars. And the biggest plus to having lightsaber mechanics like that, it automatically cauterizes the wound. So it's not like there's like blood and guts and stuff everywhere. It's just like an arm falling off.
Yeah.
It's in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
They now own those movies.
Yeah, we just saw Snoke get cut in half and his hand got cut off and everything.
Exactly.
So.
All I want to see is that in a video game.
I know. I've always wanted that so badly.
But it's okay. Even if it is lessened a little bit, it's okay. I'm still extremely excited about it. I love the storyline, especially, well, I'm not even going to sit here and act like I read that entire book because I didn't. I find a lot of books that I would love to read. My attention span in time for actually sitting down and reading them, it's a different story. But that Jedi Twilight Saga series that I had told you about forever ago, that kid who was Anakin's age, and then when Order 66 happened, he fled into the lower levels of Coruscant to escape.
Yeah.
And I was talking just about like how daunting it was for him to run into 3 stormtroopers after Order 66. But in the movies, you're like, that's nothing. Why is this kid freaking out? And it puts this realistic, within the world, this realistic spin of like, oh, if you're not a Jedi Master, like fighting 3 stormtroopers is like not an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like some of this is grounded with that. But I will say there was a few things where I was like, man, I get why he needs to have all those force powers that he was using in the video, but there's part of where I was like, I feel like he's just like a bit too much strong.
Yeah.
But
granted, they could have been their way of showing off what you can do in the game. Whereas
yeah, because that's not
probably,
like it was the first thing.
Yeah,
that's a
like
good
you'll
point.
level up throughout the game and everything.
Yeah, but overall, I love it. I love the whole idea of it. Still waiting for complete open world.
Star Wars. That's my dream, man. I've been dreaming about that for so long.
That is a dream.
Well, granted, I know EA Montreal, I think, is working on a Star Wars open world game that we read about after Ragtag was canceled. So hopefully whatever they're working on turns out to be great. I did not love the campaign they did for Battlefront 2.
No, it sucked.
Yeah, it was a major disappointment.
I played that campaign. I red boxed that campaign when I was in Orlando.
Yeah.
And I was just...
It's just super lackluster.
I feel like, how many missions were there? There was like 10 missions. I felt like 2 of them...
There's a lot of time jumps in it and stuff,
I feel like 2 of them were worth my while.
Yeah. I love the Lando mission. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, I agree with that. The Lando mission was actually one of my favorites. The Luke mission wasn't even good. I just enjoyed Luke and fighting with that green lightsaber.
Yeah.
By far the best mechanics in that game is Kylo Ren and his force powers being used. I felt like that was probably the most fun I had, but that was for an hour maybe total. I don't know why, like, I love the idea of the space battles, but I don't know.
I don't love them either. I mean, they're well done, but for whatever reason, it's weird how Battlefront is a gorgeous rendition of a Star Wars game, and for some reason, I'm just not drawn to it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'll play like a couple multiplayer matches, but like, all right, I'm done.
Right.
But I don't know why you'd think like as Star Wars fans we'd want to play more.
And yeah, I don't know. And even I feel like with Battle Royale coming over, like, and just kind of taking over a lot of stuff. Now, even playing traditional Slayer and a lot of stuff is just kind of like, okay. Just because
the stakes don't feel as high.
Exactly. There's so much, I don't know. It just, the whole idea of Battle Royale, I think is beautiful. It's exciting. It's always exciting.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm not going to ramble. Don't worry. Why I'm addicted to Hunt Showdown. So I always talk about it's because the stakes are always so high.
And I've watched you play that.
It's like an adrenaline rush every time. So that's why people love Battle Royale a lot. So,
right.
I mean, granted, I'm always still down for traditional multiplayer. Like, I'm super excited for whatever Call of Duty's doing with next Modern Warfare.
Right.
But yeah, I do have that bug in me from like whether it's Battle Royale or a variation of that type of gameplay is. It's
just like that survival and knowing if you die, you're out.
It's over. Yeah.
That's why I think always even though we always just got on and played Halo 3, like whatever, Team Slayer, Social Slayer, whatever, my favorite thing is when someone would create just a ridiculous infection map.
Mm-hmm.
We just spent hours playing like infection because there was like, you did not want to be the one to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I don't know. I think Battle Royale I think it's great. I guess PUBG was probably my first real taste of that.
Mm-hmm.
I played Fortnite. It was never really my thing. I played it enough to, I don't know, I played it a few times, but I definitely enjoyed PUBG. But on Xbox, that game is buggy. It was
PUBG?
Yeah, on Xbox. Like when it first released on Xbox One.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, it's free, so I won't complain. That is a great thing about Apex, too. I think it's just a lot of some of these battle royales starting off free or going free or staying free. I think that's just perfect.
Yeah, I think free is the way to go, man. Honestly.
I completely agree. And it's just been, it's so nice because even we still run into these problems where, you know, I'll talk to Garrett and I'll be like, oh, so what games do you have? Like, what Xbox games do you have? And we'll like match on one game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've run into people who I found have Xboxes or something and I can play randomly, but it's so easy for them to be like, oh, I'll kind of play whatever. And I'll be like, oh, just download Apex. It's free. We can play. That's like the easiest thing in the world. That's automatically like, you can just download this for free. Because remember when you used to, if you're like, oh, you didn't have a game and a game was popular, you'd just tell that friend like, oh, well, let me know if you get it.
Yeah.
Like, and then you just like wouldn't.
Never happens.
Yeah.
It was either you go over and play it or you get it eventually, then you can finally play.
And that is why we begged you, Jacob, for so long to get an Xbox and start playing Call of Duty in high school.
It took my grandma getting me one.
Dude, that was amazing when you finally got your Xbox in high school.
I remember when I first got it too, and I didn't even play it for a while either, because like, I don't know, it was like intimidating to jump onto a new platform or something. And like I saw you guys always play Halo and Call of Duty, and I was like, God, like I'm not gonna be this good. Like I don't know, I was just kind of intimidated by the whole, you know.
Little did you know.
Yeah, and here I am now.
You'd be pulling off pro gamer moves in no time. I remember right when you started to heavily get into Call of Duty, that's when
everyone else was getting over it.
Shall Not Be Named was released. What was it, Ghost?
Yeah, I was going to say Jacob bought like the special edition and everything for Ghost.
Yeah, I started really getting into Call of Duty right when everyone was kind of sick of it. So I didn't really get to experience the heyday.
Yeah, it started not only old. Ghost was just like a horrible multiplayer experience.
The multiplayer was not my favorite.
Dude,
campaign was pretty cool.
Most of the Call of Duty campaigns I feel like have been interesting enough to play through. But I will never forget the whale harpoon. And as soon as that happened,
I remember that moment.
Done.
I was there for that moment.
I was done. Oh yeah, you were just like sat down and watched me, and I'm pretty sure I like smashed my controller and was like, whatever stupid. It was a whale harpoon.
I was watching
what it was. That's what it was. It was a freaking whale harpoon, and it was one of those matches where like you just could hardly spawn without just being massacred. And I'm running across the map, and some kid just shoots me with a harpoon, and I'm like, "What am I playing? This is." And then I just went off, smashed my controller. I didn't break a disc. Preston broke a disc of some kind in that apartment. I can't remember what game it was.
You saw me. I broke one of your controllers once.
Yeah, that was great. It was Halo 3. We were just back on Halo 3.
Yeah,
and you had those metal bar stools in your third floor, and he just launched my controller
and like ricocheted between the legs of the chairs and smashed.
And then all you could hear is mom from downstairs, Garrett, what was that? He's like, I threw a controller because I was mad. And she goes, are you gonna pay for that? And you go, it was Zach's controller. And she goes, you're going out to the store right now and buying him another one. I was like, it's okay, Mrs. Drake.
I remember I was like, I'll buy you a new one.
I was like, yeah, it's fine, man.
Okay. I threw a Halo 3 disc once, like a frisbee across my room, and it shattered against the wall. I threw it like a, what's that thing called? Wing stick from Rage.
There you go.
From Rage and Rage 2. Good times.
Oh, man.
I'm right. You were on one of our first episodes called Our Biggest Rage Moments in Gaming. It's like the hardest I've ever laughed on this podcast.
Yeah, that was such a fun episode.
Dude, Garrett was on mic with me. Were you playing? You were on... We were just playing. You were playing Master Chief Collection because we couldn't get a server to get us on Halo 3, so I just started playing FIFA. That is the game that will make me quickest to rage.
I saw you break a Rock Band controller over your knee playing FIFA back in the day at the apartment. It was me and Logan versus you and Mason.
Oh, what, one of the guitars?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to lose in FIFA, especially online. Because I'm the one dude who has like 80 shots on goal and 1 goal, and then I play against a kid who's like never touched a controller, and he has like 2 shots on goal and hits both of them. It's ridiculous.
It's a curse.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. I'm pretty sure EA's out to get me with FIFA. But it's all right.
But you're infiltrating from
the inside.
Yeah,
that's right. I'm gonna bring them down.
So
I will get my goals that I deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you will.
I do deserve those goals. And being serious,
that's what you'll demand before you.
It's
you
baloney. Reinstate all of my FIFA goals. Make me the first division, and then I'm happy.
Glad to hear you're on that journey.
In FIFA 18, not even the newest one.
Yeah.
That's all I
FIFA
want.
16, please.
If you can put all those points on FIFA 18, check, please.
I like that, Zachary. Well, Jacob, what have you been playing this week, aside from Apex, of course?
Basically just Apex this week. The Season 2 launched. Instantly was there day one, bought that up, and dude, the game feels so fresh now. It's kind of crazy. Have we had a podcast episode since the season went live? I don't think we have. Right?
We had a podcast last week, didn't we?
Well, it came out Tuesday. So
yeah, we did. We haven't talked about season 2 since.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah, there was a whole bunch of new changes to the map, new battle pass. There's a new ranked mode, which is kind of similar to Overwatch's in a sense, but obviously there's only 2 teammates as opposed to 5 other ones in that game, and obviously this is a battle royale, so it's different in that regard. But sort of like the placing and ranking up through the system is sort of similar to Overwatch in that way, where you have like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and Apex Predator are the ranks. And everyone starts at bronze, and you kind of work your way up. The more you play, the more likely you are to kind of rank up. And it's more of like a points based system. So like if you do. If you get 3 kills in a game, you get 3 points. Plus, if you win, you get like 10 or 12 points, I think. So, like the more stuff you do, basically, the more points you get, and the quicker you rank up. So, it's fun in that way, and it just gives me a reason to get on there and grind and see how well I can place, and just see how I kind of compare to everyone else who's playing. But I've like really been enjoying the rank mode. It's like the highlight so far. And it's only been out for a week, so who knows if it's gonna like get stale over time? Like, are people gonna stop playing? I don't know. But right now, I just know I'm really enjoying it. And Garrett, I need to get you in there. We almost played ranked the night you got on, but you didn't stay on very long.
Ass.
You did.
We played Apex.
I wish that was cross-platform. I really do. I wish.
Actually,
when the game came out, they were talking about cross-platform, like it's something they want to do.
Play with you.
So,
dude, yeah. Wait, Jacob, do you still have your Xbox?
I do actually, yeah.
Dude, you should just update it for kicks, because me and you and Garrett could play together just for free.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
I'll
download the game tonight
on the Xbox.
So you can rest your kicks. I know it's a foot stand. I know you guys are PS4. I would have a PS4 if I could afford one.
Hey man, hashtag not fanboys. We play everything. I'm playing more Xbox this week than I have in the last.
I think Preston has like 4 PS4s. You should ask him for one.
Oh yeah, you're right. Doesn't he win a gold one from Taco Bell like every other week? I'll just go get one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit, because I'd be down for that. I've the more odd things that have happened with my Xbox, like what happened to me and you last night and this morning, are reasons why I'm like, I just need to get a PS4.
Yeah. Well, I'll provide you with one if you need one. What are we going to play on PS4?
Just wait for the new consoles. They're coming out next year.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I'll just wait for the new Xbox Scarlett Johansson. This is Laser Knives Major Nelson.
Yeah. Laser Knives Major Nelson.
This is Laser Eyes Major Nelson.
Yeah, I love that guy. It's pretty intimidating. I've seen him in person a couple times.
Yeah, is he big dude?
He's not a big dude, but he just kind of has that presence. Yeah,
yep.
He has like an entourage around him.
Some people just carry that presence with them. Yeah, actually, Jacob, I'm glad you brought that up. I was able to download all of Season 2. I'm trying to think. I didn't play a whole lot of matches, but now that you kind of speak on it, I don't recall seeing the ranked stuff, but...
Yeah, it's like a new playlist. Like, you have to select it.
Maybe? No, yeah, I guess I was just on quick play, but did they mess with any of the mechanics?
Yeah, they actually changed, like, a lot of the guns in terms of, like, how much damage they do and just stuff like that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, because I hopped in that first match, and all I had was, I think, just a Mozambique.
Oh,
and I
God.
like just tore up a squad like by myself. And I was like, what's happening? Why am I was like, this squad must be
Why
horrible.
am I kicking ass right
Yeah,
now?
I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
It's funny though, like, you know, the hop ups in the game, the things you can attach to the guns to like skull
Yeah.
piercer or whatnot. They added some new ones, and one of them can go into the Mozambique and make it do more damage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I'm trying to think. I'd have to say my favorite gun is the, oh Lord, I can't remember. It takes the, forgive me for layman
Is it a
terms.
shotgun? What kind of gun is it?
No, it's the orange ammo. It's
Oh, is it the Devotion?
not
So
the
you say the
Devotion.
pajamas?
It's the, what's the
I can name all the guns if you want.
it doesn't have like a name. It's just like the, I don't know, R130.
What do you mean it doesn't have a name? Oh, the R301.
Yeah, that's it. It's the R301.
It's an assault rifle.
Correct.
Okay.
Whatever that is, I've just kind of had the best luck with that. That seemed
It's a good gun.
to do the best for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really rely on when playing the game. I always just try to find one of
Did you notice the map looking different when you played?
I did. Yeah, I watched the full cutscene going
Yeah.
into it to see the long-legged
Leviathans.
giraffe demigorgons.
Yeah.
That's what they're called, right? Stranger
Yeah,
Things.
exactly. Yes.
Demogorgon. Yeah,
Yeah, you nailed it.
The Gorgonites. You remember where that's
The
from?
Gorgonites. That's small soldiers.
Little soldiers, small soldiers,
Little
Wow.
soldiers.
miniature soldiers. I love that
is
film.
from Tiny Soldiers. Coming this fall. Who was in that? Kirsten Dunst. And
Oh, she was like a little girl in that movie.
She
wasn't
was.
she?
Who was the main kid in that?
I can't remember his name. Marsupial Jones.
That was it. Minotaur Cream.
Yeah. Love that guy. Oscar winner. What are we talking about? Apex right now? Season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Apex.
It just kind of faded out.
Jacob, let's make an Apex Season 2 video tomorrow.
Let's do it.
You lead the way.
Yes, sir.
You gotta promise me something though.
What
I'm
is
gonna
it?
gift you Hunt Showdown, and you're gonna play it with me.
You don't have to gift
sometime.
it to me.
I'd like to.
I'll just buy it.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Okay.
Don't make me come over there and kiss you on the mouth, Jacob, because I will.
Oh, please don't. I'll leave my door unlocked.
Oh,
Wait, don't you
I
mean
mean,
locked?
shit. What's the
don't
next
worry about
topic?
it, man. I'm just glad our connection, or you dropped the call earlier when Zach and I were talking things out, because we don't need to bring up that subject.
Yeah,
Wait,
no,
what'd
we
you-
don't.
what'd
We
you
don't
guys
need to
talk
discuss that. No,
Don't worry
we'll
about it,
just
man.
move on.
Just, it's fine.
Oh, dude.
Listen, I want to get serious.
Zach,
real
again,
quick,
can I have your
boys.
address? I feel like I really need to come down.
Listen, it's already been implanted in your brain. All you have to do is think about it. Anyways, let's talk about something serious. Can I just say how awesome it is to see how well It's Obvious is doing? All the things that y'all have split off and done, all the followers, subscribers, everything that y'all have amassed, especially all the community questions, all the people that are super into it, all the stories you've told just on the podcast about people recognizing you and talking to y'all and creating things such as like the opening and stuff like that.
That
It's
was
really
Dan
awesome.
Lester.
That was really awesome to see. So, because I haven't really been on, I've only just like watched or listened the past 3 years, just kind of off and on. So, congrats for just sticking with us and doing an awesome job because it looks incredible. I show you guys to like everybody.
Wow.
So, yeah.
We're honored.
We wouldn't do it if we didn't absolutely love it. So
Yeah, we're honored when everyone shares something from It's Obvious Gaming. And as Jacob and I, and even Preston to an extent when he can be here, I've talked about, like, our lives have changed so much since we
So
started.
drastically.
And there's a million things we could do better and improve and be more consistent with, obviously. But we're working some things out. And Jacob and I, as you know, are already talking about making some more videos like we used to. But as we've always said, It's Obvious Gaming can be so much more than it is.
Right.
That's just when time permits, unfortunately. I know many of you out there can relate to just being an adult and having to go about life and pay bills and have families and everything.
Right.
So it can be tricky, but we're still happy to be here and honored to
Yeah.
have you back, Zachy. So thank
I
you.
know I appreciate y'all having me back on. It really is. It's cool, and it's cool listening to the podcast and people talking to y'all and y'all having like your things that you do on every episode and all that stuff. And
Jacob and I flirting up a storm.
we'll talk about that later. But yeah, just it really is. It's cool. It's cool listening every week, and I get a little bit jealous.
I miss you every week,
I
Zachy.
know. I'm just like, man, I really wish I was there with my boys.
There are at least how many episodes you done? Like 4 or 5 total, probably at this point.
I think I
you've done
did
about
3 Let's Plays, a PS4 unboxing, and like 3 podcasts.
So,
Yes.
speaking of podcasts, there's at least 200 episodes I wish you were on with us.
I appreciate that.
It breaks my heart.
I know.
Should have been there, but you've always been there in spirit.
I have.
You're always on my
Always
mind.
there.
You're always on my heart. And, we're meant to be together.
We are meant to be together.
And we know that deep down.
Yeah.
But at least we're here now together.
That's right.
Jacob, you still there, man?
Uh-huh.
Hey, where'd you go, dude?
Yeah. Just,
Cool.
not clenching my fists or anything.
Okay. Tight.
Here's some cool news. I also played some games this week. Notably, I played, not finished, but I've played a majority of Sea of Solitude. It's an indie game that deals with the subject matter of, like mental awareness. Not necessarily mental illness, I don't think, but emotional distress and abuse.
Right.
In a very artistic way. I don't want to spoil anything. Mechanically, it's fine. It doesn't totally blow my mind. I wouldn't say it's a fun game, but it's definitely a very interesting game. And that definitely makes you... it's pretty deep, too. Like, emotionally, it's pretty dark as well. But it's interesting the way this girl's mind and her life have been portrayed on this open sea that's like with a buried city underneath you, and these like demonic monsters that represent her family members and other people in her life that have really affected her. So I know COG's review is coming soon. I'm actually providing the video version of that game. That's why I'm playing it and recording a bunch of video for the actual YouTube channel. But their review specifically will be out soon. I know other reviews have already dropped. I haven't seen the reviews myself. I don't know how people are reacting to it, but I know I had heard of that title before it had come out. I had not seen anything of it until the day I started playing. So it's kind of cool to go into a game completely fresh like that.
Right.
But I've enjoyed it so far. At least story-wise, it's pretty interesting. Gameplay-wise, does nothing for me, but
that's really cool.
That's kind of cool.
It approaches it from that way.
Yeah, it reminds me, of course, of Hellblade, which is a game that I still owe myself to finish because so many people have praised it. And from what little Jacob and I played, it was super, super cool. But that dealt with mental illness specifically and like that medieval, spooky, ancient Viking-like land where you play as Senua herself.
That's pretty cool to represent some of that stuff just in like any medium, especially through video games.
For sure.
Yeah. So it reminded me a bit of Hellblade in that sense. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So,
especially for people who can relate to video games and kind of feel at home. I guess with some things like that, I relate super hard to music, especially music that provokes really any type of like strong emotion.
Totally.
So just having that in a different like artistic medium, I think that's really important. It's cool. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. A lot of games, especially indie titles, explore that kind of stuff more deeply than a lot of AAA stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited to see COG's review myself because I'm interested to see
what's it called?
Sea of Solitude.
Sea of Solitude.
Cool titles. I think it'd be a cool band name.
That would be a cool band
name.
You're
the master of naming things too.
Thank you. I appreciate
that. I'm gonna reach out to you anytime I need a title. You can count on.
Yeah, you just let me know, Jacob. You got any titles that need to be titled?
I'll let you know.
Okay, appreciate it.
Don't forget, Zach's the master.
I love naming things. Yeah, it really is so much fun to me.
I actually reached out to you for Smithsville Bar was hosting a band, and they needed every night when a big band plays.
Oh, I never asked you if you used one of my ideas.
They used all of them.
Were you serious?
Yeah.
What? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they always name like custom drinks based on either song titles or like whatever's related to the band, and there was like some sort of like rodeo tribute or something. And I was like, I need titles for like drink names, and you came up with all kinds of stuff that was perfect. You used all of them. So
wow,
I did not take credit either. I called my buddy Zach, and he named all of these.
Wow, that means a lot to me.
So
did you take a picture?
No, I should have.
That hurts me a little bit.
I apologize. They were brilliant names.
I can't remember. I can't remember the name. I think one of them had to do with assless chaps, didn't
it? Yeah.
Okay.
Assless chaps. There's one like the Buck and Bronco or something. Or,
yeah, Buck and Bronco. That was one of them.
There's a couple more. Something to do with Jack Daniels. I think I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah, you're right. That way. Yeah, that was that drink was called Not My First Rodeo, and
that's
it was
2
shots of Jack.
Yeah, it was perfect.
That's great. That is a good idea. Thank you.
So everyone, even you should make a business out of it, Zach.
I appreciate that.
Titles by Zach.
Oh, I also created another drink the other day. I was at my my hotel, and they were just doing like a ridiculous amount of stuff for 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I told them they should make a Long Island iced tea, put a tea bag in it, and call it the Boston Tea Party and sell it for $10.
That's amazing.
And then you could just get an extra shot of vodka and just call it the Sons of Liberty and just drop it in there.
Amen, brother.
So, Thought it was a good idea.
I always thought one of the coolest titles ever was Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
It's the most American thing I've ever heard.
The Phantom Pain's pretty cool too. Even though a Phantom Pain is a real thing, just the title, the Phantom Pain, is cool.
It is cool.
But yeah, titles by Zach. You should make a business. People can consult you. It's like $5, depending on what the title's for. If it's like for a government agency, you got to charge them like $1 million.
Yeah, correct.
But if it's like something small, like, oh, I need a band name, you can throw some out there.
Yeah, you can't give me a deadline. It's a lot of pressure. I'll freak out.
Mm-hmm. Give them like a 3-year notice.
Yeah, give me a 3-year notice. I'll get you some titles.
Amen. Yeah, everyone keep that in mind. Reach out to Zach on various platforms.
They don't know how to reach him.
Yeah, you create a business where you sell...
Reach him by owl.
Where you sell mugs.
Mm-hmm.
Mugs.com.
See what I'm saying?
I can really just keep this going for days.
Mugs.net is more like
wow. Or .org if you want to teach people about
mugs.gov.
Mugs. Yeah, you can just call it mugshot.com.
I like that.
.org.
What else have I played? Sea of Solitude, Master Chief Collection.
Mm-hmm.
What else have I played? Spider-Man. Swung around in the new suits for COG, made a quick COG video for web swinging, and the upgraded suit from Far From Home, as well as the stealth suit, which I wish they had called the Night Monkey suit, because that's one of the best parts of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious.
I think my favorite 10-second sequence from the entire, and the whole movie's awesome. I don't want to spoil anything. We'll talk about spoilers later, but is when Ned and Betty are in the Ferris wheel, and she's like, what's this European ripoff of Spider-Man called? He's like, the Night Monkey. And they're both like, Night Monkey, save us. And just the shot of Peter Parker just turning to look at them, like addressing the fact that they called him Night Monkey. It's the funniest
It is
thing.
hilarious.
So I love that. But that's all I played with Spider-Man, Master Chief Collection, and Sea of Solitude. All great stuff, of course. Nothing really I'm looking forward to game-wise aside from Fallen Order. I'm really, really excited to see what Call of Duty is all about. I'm hoping there's a reveal event, and I'm hoping by the grace of God I can go to it again. Because last time I went, not only was it an incredibly cool experience, but I also met Jonathan Vigil from Ghost Inside. Got to talk to him for a bit. Speaking of which, what I'm looking forward to this week, on Saturday, I'm traveling to Los Angeles to see their only show of 2019 after their roughly 2 or 3, I can't remember how many years it's been. I think it's almost 3 years now. It's been a couple years at least.
It's been
hiatus
like 3.
After their bus accident. So not only is it their only show of 2019, but there have been rumors that they openly addressed that this may or may not be their last show ever. I think they're going to gauge the response, which will easily be probably their hypest show in their career, which I get to be a part of. I'm so excited for.
Dude,
I'm going to be the guy in the back that just stands like by the sound booth and just jams.
I get so sad when I know that I'm not going to be there.
You've been to a few Ghost Inside shows with me, at least 2.
2 or 3.
We saw him at Masquerade once. We saw him at Warped Tour once. I've seen him 4 or 5 times total already.
I think that was it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have such regret for not seeing the show, simply for the fact of I can't remember if I forgot the date or what it was, but For Today was doing their farewell tour, and they literally came like 30 minutes down the road from me in Orlando.
Oh,
and I totally forgot. And like the next day, I was like, wait, when does For Today play? And it was like the night before. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Sucks, man. You and I saw them a few times as well.
Yeah, we saw For Today.
Even the last show we saw them in Hell at Old Masquerade. That was an incredible show.
Oh, it was an awesome show.
So I think still the most memorable for me for their show was at the 7 venue in Douglasville.
Oh, yeah, I got punched in the face.
That was freaking incredible.
You know, because I remember I hadn't gone into a mosh pit in like a long time. And I was like, you know what? I don't really feel like going to mosh pits anymore, but as soon as they drop Devastator, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to tear it up. I literally do one bounce inside the mosh pit. Someone does a Brock Lesnar spinning back fist right in my jaw. And I just walk over to Garrett like a sad dog. And I'm like, never mind, I'm not doing that anymore. It's stupid.
Everyone's losing their minds. That was a great show. But I am going to attend that show. I'm going to go all in on merch. I'm so excited. They've already showed what one of the posters are.
I hope you have an incredible time.
I'm sure
stay home and cry.
I'm excited because they released an image today that said doors at 6, surprises at 7, and then show starts at 8.
Oh.
My guess is that I don't think there will be opening bands, but I think there will be other bands present. I'm like fully convinced A Day to Remember is going to be there because they're good friends with the band. I think most bands that they've been involved with in the past are just going to be present at the show, which is pretty cool.
Which is just so amazing.
But anyone who's going to be in Los Angeles and you're attending the show and you listen to this podcast, let me know. I have an extra ticket, to be honest, if you're a fan of the show and you're at all interested in attending with me. I will give it to you. I'm still waiting to hear from a buddy of mine in Los Angeles that may or may not go with me. But if not, just message me directly on Discord.
Did you tell them what the deal is if you are to give the ticket to?
You have to take on the persona of Zach.
Yeah, you have to become me.
Yeah.
So I tried everything in my power to make this show, but I couldn't make it happen from work and life and money and things and it being across the country. So you will become me for one night, and you'll see an awesome show with Garrett.
They have to sign a waiver, right?
They do have to sign a waiver if you're going to take on my identity. Identity theft is not a joke.
Jim. Classic,
dude.
But yeah, I am incredibly excited for that.
You're gonna
show.
have a great time. I'm super excited for you.
So I'm gonna get you a shirt, by the way. I owe you a shirt.
You owe me nothing.
I meant to text you the other day. I wore for the first time in a long time that baseball tee, a Day to Remember shirt you bought me at the show at Masquerade. And I was going to be like, thanks again.
It's funny you bring up baseball tees. Do you know I took a baseball tee from you many years ago?
Yeah, the orange and white one.
Correct.
I love that shirt.
Yes, I still have it.
But you look great in it. You wear it better than
Do you know
I do.
why I'll never give that back to you?
Why?
That was what I was wearing the night that I met my wife.
Yep.
And so
you got to keep it forever.
Yeah, so it's
It's
not
your
yours
Super Bowl
anymore.
jersey.
It's mine now.
In a way, Garrett helped you meet Cassie.
It was
He
the
did.
shirt, man. The shirt did everything.
Oh, it sure did everything. I had a couple chest hairs sticking out of there.
It's got the buttons.
Yeah, it's a Henley. That's what they call it. It was a Henley baseball tee. Just nicely done. Nicely done, Garrett. Thank you for my wife. I appreciate
I knew
that.
that day was coming. You need the jersey to sport.
That's right. You brought it home.
Imagine if you hadn't worn that shirt.
I know it would have all gone wrong.
Yep.
That perfectly.
That creamsicle colored
I
baseball tee.
got my physique going. I look like Jacob Alka out there. I still have video from that night when I got up on stage and karaoke'd. Somebody told me by
You
the
have it
Killers.
backed up. You can't lose it.
I don't. I need your help with that tonight.
I will.
Somebody send it to me on Facebook. I can't
I
find a way
will
to
help
get
you
it properly
tonight.
saved.
You have to save that forever.
The quality's terrible, but I can show that to my kids someday and say, "This is how I got your mother by singing the Killers."
Yep. It's a classic love story.
It is a classic love story.
So I'll never forget the day you and I met.
I know.
What do we see on Stranger
What
Things?
we were watching?
Does your species like M&Ms?
Yeah, on Stranger Things season 3. And then I turned to my wife and I said, "That moment is exactly how me and Garrett met."
Yeah. I remember I had a bad impression of you when we first met because Evan told me that you guys got in a fight once with that guy. That guy must be a douche.
Yeah. I was a pretty docile human most of my life until I got on a basketball court. And then most people probably thought I was a D-bag because I let my emotions get the better of me like almost every time I played like an actual basketball game. So yeah, that's fair for you to think of me. I remember my first impression of you is you had the hair swooped all the way down, covering
Over my eye.
over your eyes, just the one eye.
I was an angsty kid, man.
Yeah, dude, you looked like you had done nothing but listen to My Chemical Romance for like 4 years straight.
I certainly had.
And I remember just walking up, and then Evan was like, "Oh, this is my friend Garrett. He's on our team too." And I was like, "Hey," and you're like, "Hey, what's up?" And Evan was like, "Oh, Garrett, do that funny voice you do." And you're like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And you wouldn't do it. you literally
Do that funny thing you do, man.
And you were like, "No, not right now." And you just like walked away. And I was like, "Okay." And then little did I know, years later, you'd be doing funny voices all the time for me.
And still to this day, you're the individual that I've shared a bed with the most.
Yeah. I'd almost say that you and my wife are probably in the same ballpark for who slept next to me the most.
Yeah.
She'll probably be overcoming your numbers shortly. So you're going to have to get over here and
you have to
Make up for the lost time.
Yeah, make up for the lost
It's one
time.
of the reasons I'm staying tonight, Jacob. Don't worry about it. We're not going to do anything.
Yeah, we're not going to talk.
Oh, I
about
get it. All
Fully nude
three
because
of
it
you
gets hot
spend
in
the
here,
night
but aside from
together.
that, it's going to
I
be
get
fun.
I'm passing on that privilege to my dog, Archie. So you can snuggle Archie. And
Perfect.
that counts.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes, that counts.
So I will maintain my record.
Me and Jacob shared a couple beds too.
Yeah, we shared a room for a year.
You did. You shared a bunk bed.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like trying to think. I was like, when did we do
I shared
that?
a room with Preston.
That's right.
Preston
we
and
shared
We
Foul.
did the podcast during the year we were in that apartment.
Dude, that would have been wild.
Yeah, well, it was already
The
wild.
wild women.
I wish we could quote some of the stuff we said in that apartment. We can't say it on the podcast. Not that it's like racist or sexist or awful. It's just like
It was a long
It's a little
time
out
ago.
there. It's a little raunchy as
It's
well,
a
say.
little weird.
But I remember one of my favorites is when you and I set up makeshift bowling pins in the hallway.
And played in the hallway while Jacob was trying to study.
Yeah, we
I
were playing.
literally thought
I think
he
I
was
was trying to
punch a hole
sleep.
through our heads.
Yeah,
Yeah, that too. You were either studying or sleeping. We weren't having any of it.
No, we were bowling in the hallway, and Jacob stuck his head out. He's like, "Guys, we're like, how old were we when we were in the apartment?"
even
It was
know.
We were
13.
19.
He's like, "Guys, we're
We were
like
not
19."
19.
Like,
Yeah, we were.
I was not.
Yeah, we were
19.
young. Jacob's always been the oldest.
Well, you were 20.
I was always
but-
I was always able to drink when I was there.
You're right, because Jacob was already 21. No. You turned 21.
You turned 21 while we
were
lived in the apartment.
Okay.
Because we moved in April, and then you turned 21 in like July.
So you waited until your
Oh.
21st
July 27th.
birthday
Your
to have
birthday's
a
coming
drink.
up, dude.
Yeah.
Jacob, you gonna be 28?
Wait, sorry. What did you say?
Are you gonna be 28 on the 27th?
No, 27.
Really?
That doesn't add
Oh,
up.
that's right. Yeah, I just turned 26.
Yeah, I don't want to be 28 yet.
I think it's Carlos who just turned 28.
Jacob, do us a favor. Don't die, because a lot of rock stars have died at 27.
A lot
in
of
my
them have died
eyes,
at
you're a
27.
rock star.
Oh, thank you, Garrett.
So,
I'll do my
what
best.
were we talking about? Bowling. What was the quote? You know the quote better than I do. So guys were like 19, like grow up or something.
Wow, yeah. What did you
I think
say?
I said 20
Where
or something. I don't
you were
know.
like, no, I think you said, guys, we're almost 21. When are you guys going to grow up? I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay.
Have we told the story about the one of the best moments you and I have had in our friendship when you were leaving for work that morning?
Okay, so this is just instant classic.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Garrett and Zach moment. So we both wake up just super groggy in the morning. Just like, me and Garrett are normally pretty on Johnny on the spot with movie quotes.
Yeah.
But, when you're just tired, your brain doesn't function that quickly. And at that point in time, me and him were drinking coffee as much as we are now. So we had just like rolled out of bed. He had to go to school. I had to go to work. But right when I opened the door, there was massive police sirens behind me. Very, very audible. And I turn around and I look back at Garrett, and Garrett says, "Go get him, Tiger." From Spider-Man 2.
You didn't even respond. You just smiled.
I just smiled. I knew, and I was like, I'm not going to ruin this moment.
Yeah.
I just closed the door like I was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was great. And that moment will live on in infamy.
I'll never forget it. Good
Wow.
times.
Amazing.
It was just that moment too. There's like a pause of silence where we stared at each
It was
other.
just pure respect for the line that was delivered. That's what it was.
You could hear the sirens before I said it, and we just looked at each other. I was like,
Wow.
go get him, Tiger.
Amazing. It gives me chills. Really, it does when we can deliver the perfect movie line.
We've had a couple intimate moments like that. I'll never forget when Zach and I almost kissed on them. Oh, we've kissed many times, but when we almost passionately kissed,
Yeah,
we were
passionately. Is the key
another
word.
early morning outside our community college shortly after high school, questioning what we were even going to do with our lives.
Correct.
And we were sitting in the car, and the sun was rising. It was a beautiful morning. And we had said something at the same time, like at the exact same moment. And we looked at each other, and we locked eyes. And there was just like 5 whole seconds where
We were just locked eyes.
we just stared at each other.
It was the weirdest moment.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest moments of my life.
And we just stared at each other. And then finally one of us was like, anyway, we should probably go to class.
And we were like, but we like went back to that moment later and we're like, hey, that was kind of weird, right? Like we just we stared at each other with very gentle eyes for
we
like
did.
5 seconds.
This is also the same community college where we were so bored in our ancient history class at 8 a.m. that we took turns drawing this figure. Like we would he would draw like an ear and I would draw like a nose, and like eventually it turned into this contorted body like shitting itself. And the way it was contorted and the face we had drawn.
All I can think of is the movie Split, where James McAvoy is like twisting his body all sorts of different
basically
ways.
what it was.
We essentially drew that, but he was taking a giant dump.
Yeah.
And then we just looked at that paper and laughed so loudly that at like 8 a.m. in ancient history.
Yeah, like the professor, the whole class is looking at us like we're psychopaths because I can barely hold it together. We think it's so funny because we realize not only is it so stupid what we've drawn, but the fact that we're in college at 8 a.m. laughing at this.
It's gold, dude. It's comedy gold.
We had a kid who was like a senior or junior in high school.
It was dual enrollment.
Dual enrollment. And he told us that on the first day of class. We're like, dude, we're going to call you the chosen one.
Yep.
And I remember we just felt even stupider as this like brilliant kid who's still in high school's in our class. And
He's
meanwhile,
like so focused trying to get everything right.
yeah, meanwhile, we're
He hung
doodling
out with
people
our
crapping themselves.
group of friends like once. He came over. He's like, "Oh, yeah, this is really fun. I'll catch you guys later."
Yeah,
We're
we
like,
realized we're
"Yeah,
total
dude."
psychopaths.
Yeah. That's all right. Jacob, you
times.
still there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got going on in life. That's all the games I played. Considering that there's minimal news, you guys want to talk about Spider-Man?
Let's hop
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Or should I say, let's swing into it.
Amen, brother. Zach, let's hear from you. Jacob and I have talked about it a bit. I haven't really heard your thoughts in depth. Obviously, non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler. Movie as a whole, great. I mean, I honestly just feel like like it's just almost impossible for Marvel to make a bad movie. I don't mean there's definitely been movies where you've been like, no, it was not the strongest, but you can still go back, watch it, and be like, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And it's good. Felt the same way about that. It definitely felt strange because I just wasn't as much. It wasn't just based in New York, which I understand why they did what they did. It was just one of those things where like you so badly just want to see him just swinging through buildings in New York.
See, that's part of the reason why I liked it so much, because it wasn't in New York. It was something completely different.
As far as the visually, that's where I want it to be and where I like it to be. But as far as storytelling, what an awesome story. Jake Gyllenhaal, just freaking 10 out of 10, man.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Always.
As far as, and this is, so his delivery of the character, Mysterio, incredible. Mysterio's been one of my favorites since the original Spider-Man game for PS1. Where I was really introduced to a lot of Spider-Man villains, and I just fell. Venom will always be number one as far as like favorite Spider-Man villain, but Mysterio's close. And I feel like that's one of the most comic accurate adaptions. And something else me and you have talked about with Spider-Man is they've done a good job of keeping the character true but modern, and they did the same thing with Mysterio.
Yeah.
So I just really respect what they did with that. Gyllenhaal was great. Holland was great as normal. I do love Zendaya, MJ. Great job. But yeah, overall, I think it's great. I guess there was like a few things where there's like a few moments in the movie where I was kind of like, all right, it's a scene that was there. That's fine. But overall, pleasantly entertained. And it's so funny after in-game, it's like you almost go into a Marvel movie expecting to sit for 3 hours. So it ended and I was like, wait, that's the end of it? Don't we have like another hour left?
Yeah.
And that just proves the point of if they made every Marvel movie 3 hours, everyone would sit through it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I didn't think in-game was insanely long, but I say that as going into the theater and watching it. Could I turn that on every night and watch it? Probably not. But yeah, I give it I'm gonna give it an 8.3 out of 10.
Oh,
8.3 what?
Bugles.
Okay, perfect. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Jacob, you and I saw it together. We didn't really talk about it in depth. How'd you feel about it overall?
Well, obviously, I guess not obviously, because no one knows my opinion yet. But I just as I expressed to you, I loved this movie. I liked it more than Homecoming. I think this might be honestly my favorite Spider-Man movie. I really, really liked it. I thought Tom was great. I say it as if we're best friends, me and Tom.
You mean this guy Tom?
It's like me and Robert Pattinson are close.
Yeah, we're tight. Obviously Jake Gyllenhaal was so freaking good.
So freaking hot.
Yeah,
what was that, man?
Say that again.
What?
But I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed all the performances. I really enjoy. I like this version of MJ. I've heard other people complain about just like how she's portrayed in these movies in particular. But I really like this take on her. I think she's unique, and I really like her. I thought she did well. Obviously, what's his friend's name in the movie?
Ned.
I always forget that kid's name.
Ned. Declassified school survival guy.
I love that
Good
kid.
show.
He's awesome. Yeah, there was so many great moments. I'm not going to get into them obviously because of spoilers, but this is definitely a movie that I want to go see again and definitely like own in some form when it comes out, because I really, really liked this movie. What about you, Garrett?
Not to be totally generic, but I echo much of what you guys have said. I don't know if it's my favorite Spider-Man movie overall. I will say story-wise, probably my favorite. Visually, like Zach said, I do prefer Spider-Man in New York, but it was really cool to see him in a completely different setting, running around around Europe. It was interesting. So I like that aspect. Story-wise, I loved it, as I said. Mysterio was phenomenal. We'll talk about it more in spoilers. What's something else I can touch on that's non-spoilery?
I also like that S.H.I.E.L.D. had a role to play in this movie too. I don't know. I really like Nick Fury.
Yeah, me too. Samuel L. Jackson's
I don't ever
awesome.
feel like he's like in too many of the movies. I always feel like he's welcome.
I'm glad that he's sticking around too.
He toes the line. Them writing him into movies, I feel like he's always toed the line
Yeah.
perfectly to be like the director and to just kind of come in good points, but it doesn't ever feel like it's like a giant
Overbearing.
shield
You
party.
can always understand why S.H.I.E.L.D. would be there too.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good point.
So, I don't think there's anything else we can talk about that's non-spoilery. How do you guys feel about the red and black suit?
I like it, but I'm partial to that old blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it, Jacob?
I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not as good as a spider monkey suit or whatever the hell he was called, but
Yeah.
not as good as the classic. I liked the Homecoming suit more, but I thought this was a good one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because red and black is like one of my favorite color schemes, and that suit looks really, really cool. But for some reason, I still love the Homecoming suit more because even though people say like, oh, the first issue, like it was always meant to be red and black, it just appeared blue because of the shadowing and stuff and the color.
Yeah.
But the red and blue is just what I've grown accustomed to my entire life,
Right.
and I love how the Homecoming suit looks. I was bummed when we saw it in them for like 5 seconds in the movie, but red and black's cool. I don't know how long he'll wear that suit. I think one reason they've done that is not only have they taken this version of Peter Parker that's still very true to the original character, but as far as his story in the MCU is so drastically different from every other incarnation we've seen on film
Right.
that they almost have to give him a new look because of that, to even differentiate it even more. So I think it's cool, and I think knowing Spider-Man not only from comics and video games, but he always has a multitude of suits. So he has Iron Spider, he has Homecoming, he has this red and black one. I'm sure we'll see many more throughout Tom Holland's career, Spider-Man.
And I just to add on to that, him essentially being or having the knowledge and some of the resources to be that Iron Man protege, him building that suit is like the coolest thing.
I love that.
Which is very Iron Man-esque when he's like, okay, I'm gonna get to work, I'm gonna build a suit.
Yeah.
Which I would love to see him, and he could have 2 different suits in the next movie. Just like even though I haven't really played the game, I've watched you play it, but different suits causing different abilities for different occasions, different missions.
Totally.
If he were to do that just like Iron Man did with his suits, what he did with the Iron Legion, I would be totally up for that because it's just cool to have options.
Definitely. And I think, actually, wait, this isn't a spoiler. If you've seen Homecoming, this isn't a spoiler, but I think another reason they give him a red and black suit is because Miles Morales, as we know, I can't remember which Spider-Man he is. As we know from Spider-Verse and anyone who knows Miles Morales, his suit has always been red and black. And I like to think that after the 5-year blip, Miles Morales grew up to be a similar age to Peter Parker now. Because I like to think that Miles Morales did not blip and he grew up a little older.
Right.
So that makes sense as to why Peter Parker would possibly train him. And I also think that he's had spider powers the whole time everyone was gone. Because remember, his uncle had the ice cream and blah, blah, blah. He probably went home. Because in the original comics, his uncle brings him ice cream. And because his uncle's the Prowler, he had brought back one of the spiders with him from whatever he was doing. And it bit Miles Morales. I don't know if they'll do the same story here. But if that is the same story, I like to think Miles Morales has grown up to be close to Peter Parker's age, and I think he's going to see Parker's red and black suit, and that's where he's going to get the inspiration for his own suit, is the red and black.
Interesting.
I think
That's
that's
my
really
theory.
cool. I think it's pretty cool. I would love to see a live action Tom Holland passing on
I think in the third movie we will undoubtedly see Miles Morales
in some
show
form.
up.
Yeah, I'd love
That's
that.
awesome. that would be incredible.
So
Speaking
We
of
get 2
Spider-Verse, I literally started that last night. I'm about halfway through it.
had you seen it yet?
No,
Oh, dude, isn't that movie awesome?
it's so good. I
Dude,
love it.
I love
Yeah.
it. Seeing it in theaters was so cool.
It was
really
incredible
was.
on the
It's
big screen.
so
I can't
well
believe you didn't
done.
see that on the big screen.
Yeah, I
man. It
just
was
never had the
unbelievable.
opportunity.
Yeah, I think we almost ran out of the chance, but we saw it on one of its last showings.
Nice. Yeah, I love that movie. I'm
Yeah,
glad
it's
it's
a
on
great
Netflix too.
movie.
I need to watch that soon.
I plan to finish it tonight with my midnight snack.
What you gonna
Ooh,
have?
wow.
I don't know yet. What do you think I should have?
What do you got?
God, I don't know. I have
Zach and I
have
had a
cereal.
feast at Taco Bell earlier.
Yeah, we threw down.
Which, forgive me, Jacob, I know our plan was to have T-Bell at my place into the podcast, but I did come to Zach's at the last minute. I'm going to make it up to you.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's clear who you favor, after this episode.
No, dude.
Oh, dude, it's not.
It's just some guy
what's
I'm
up?
hanging out with. Dude.
we'll
It's
talk
fine.
later.
It
We'll have a
doesn't mean
long
anything.
talk later.
Okay.
But we have. Do you know what I have saved for you, Jacob?
What do you have for me?
Well, me and Garrett never really had a chance. We've just really made it a priority to really just play Halo, but we haven't touched the jet skis. So it would be fun for us to go, because it's almost like it really is going to be tough to get everybody in the same place. I think we all know that as far as all the boys go.
Bah.
But the 3 of us, maybe not so difficult to get us maybe even just for just one whole day get on the skis and in the hot tub.
Yeah, I think I'm picking up your drift.
All right, you picking up my wake? Are you woke?
Yeah.
I'll drive, Jacob.
Hey, there we go. It's a date.
Even better.
It's a date.
Let's do it.
As long as you drive, Jacob, and I can hold on to the back of you.
I'll bring the beer. You bring the boy.
I'll do that.
Cold beer, cold jeans. I have you seen the Bo Burnham country
I've heard
parody?
about it. I don't think I've seen
I
it.
laugh so hard every time I listen to that. We're gonna watch that as soon as we're done with
Perfect.
this. All right. Yep.
Community questions, I think it's time for
Oh
it.
boy.
Oh,
We got
boy.
a bunch of good ones. You ready, Jacob?
Yeah.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I know our spoiler-free Spidey talk was brief, but post community questions, if you want to stick around and you have seen Far From Home, or if you don't care about spoilers, we're going to discuss spoilers and the film more in depth. We have a lot to say about it. We're excited. But in the meantime, we're going to answer your community questions, which we cannot thank you enough for. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who write in week and week out to have your questions read live on the show. If you want your questions read live on the show, you can reach us in one of three places. You can email us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at obvious_gaming, or send us your questions via email at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. And always include the hashtag AskIOG if you want it read live on the show. That being said, Carlos Perez writes in and says, marry one, kill one, bang one,
This again.
apple pie, Taco Bell, pecan pie, and go.
Who's going first?
You want to lead us, Jacob? Not Jacob.
Oh, how many
Zach.
times?
Sorry,
Oh
I
my
keep
God.
looking at Zach and calling him Jacob because I'm so used to just talking to Jacob.
You're so
on the podcast.
fake.
So we have apple pie, pecan pie, and Taco Bell.
Yeah. And the reason why these were chosen is because me, Preston, and Jacob once had a heated discussion about apple pie and pecan pie. Or just
Pecan
in
pie
general.
sucks.
Okay, so let me start this thing off. Obviously, gonna marry Taco Bell. That's
Hill right, brother.
Clearly.
it's the biggest no-brainer.
Yeah.
Don't they have apple pie or something?
Consensual love with apple pie and
Kill pecan.
pecan.
Yeah.
I'm
Fuck
gonna
pecan.
take it to the top of the Empire State Building. And I'm gonna drop it off. No, I'm gonna dangle it, and let it wave around.
Or
for
you
a
could
second.
you could pie an all-star in the face at a game.
Listen, that's a great idea, but just bar
Pecan
that
pie.
idea for. Well, that would hurt.
Here, take
It's
these
like
nuts
rocks
to
in
the face.
Yeah. That's a deep reference I don't think anyone will understand, unfortunately.
Yeah,
in the
well, that would
podcast.
just-
That's a long, detailed story we'll have to tell sometime.
Yeah. No, I don't want the pecan pie. It's dead to me.
Okay. Jacob, you probably say the same thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. I would have the same exact
Okay.
answers. Pecan pie it just doesn't even deserve. Why are nuts on a pie? Like that doesn't.
Okay,
make
let me
sense.
say this. I have a confession. I'm going to say the exact same thing as you guys. I'm going to marry Taco Bell, sleep with apple pie, kill pecan pie. But
Yeah, if American pie has taught me
recently had-
anything, it is to
and when I
sleep
say
with that
recent,
pie.
it was several months ago. I had pecan pie for the first time, and the reason why I tried it is because it was offered to me, and of course Preston had raved about it. So I tried it. It was phenomenal. I'm not going to lie. Really enjoyed it. Which I was surprised to say. It had like cinnamon on it and it had like this special cream in it and everything, and got me a little excited, if I'm being honest. But not good enough for me to want to sleep with it over apple pie.
Yeah, apple pie is the best pie. Come
Not
on.
unlike the gentleman in American Pie when he actually makes love to an apple pie.
Yes,
Or unless it's a
yes.
cherry pie, I can't remember.
I think it's an apple pie.
Think of that. That's exactly what it would be like. So, you know what I'm saying.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Carlos, thanks for the question.
Carlos, that
I think
wasn't
we
a
have
tough one.
I think
we
we're
need-
closing out community questions with another one from Carlos, too. I was just going to include all of them.
Nice.
Girth Brooks, 92.
Oh, I know this name.
Yeah, you do. Writes in and says, don't really have any video game questions, but what is something a girl can do on a date that grinds your gears? I went on a few Tinder dates with this girl a while back, and every time I would offer to pay for dinner, she would order one of the pricier items, only to eat a quarter to a half of it when I would ask if she wanted a take-home container. Take-home, you must be from out of the U.S., because I know they call it takeaway outside the U.S., but here we call it to-go.
To go.
It's just kind of funny to think about.
To go.
I could be wrong, Girth Brooks. He's a very American name.
It is.
Wanted to take home container. She always declined and wasted the rest of the food. Shit really annoyed me. Thanks for keeping the pod going, and shout out to that boy Pew Pew.
Pew pew.
Something that anyone's done on a date that's annoyed you. It takes a lot to annoy me, so I can't really. I have to think for a while.
I'm trying to think. I haven't
I have one. I have one.
been on a date in a long
When
time.
anyone talks about just nonsense. I don't mean like funny nonsense. I mean like just drama or
Right.
or gossip that's just so pointless and not at all.
You mean like talking about other
interesting
people or something?
Yeah, it's just like whenever they talk about
Especially when you don't know them that well.
Yeah,
They're
and just like
about
garbage
like,
that just like just does not matter and doesn't like help us get to know each other any better. That drives me insane.
right.
So a lot of just pointless banter annoys me. Because
Gotcha.
I'm a man of few words. Like if you don't know me and then we've only like just had introductions, I often don't have much to say. I can have small talk with anyone if they engage the conversation, but I'm not typically one to just have small talk with random people. I'm more of a deep conversation kind of person. Like if we're going to talk about something, I'll talk about it in depth. But that's one thing for me is when someone just like rambles on about like so-and-so said this and did this and blah, 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 and just mostly talking crap about someone or something. It just bores me to death. It annoys me. I don't express that annoyance often. I'll listen.
Right. Like, okay,
But inside I'm screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And bleeding from all my orifices. So that's one thing that annoys me. What about you guys?
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I would just kind of have to agree with that. Just kind of pointless conversation.
Mhm.
But like I said, it's been a long time since I've been.
I
on a
can't remember the
date,
last
so-
time that I was single.
I date with anyone other than your wife.
Yeah, exactly. And we annoy each other all the time. That's why we got married.
Mhm.
So,
There you go.
no, I really can't. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I would guess I would have to agree with you. I'm just such a laid back person. Not too much really gets to me. But I will say, just having to sit and listen to things that hold no weight towards getting to know someone. Yeah, that is annoying. Jacob, you?
Mine's kind of similar. So
When they know nothing about Apex Legends, yeah, me too.
that's number one. Number two, I went on this date a couple months ago. It didn't work out, but so I took this girl to dinner and I proceeded to try and have a conversation with her all night, and she kind of just answered my questions, and she wouldn't really carry the conversation, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. If I go on a date with someone and they can't, at the very least, ask me about myself, or seem to want to indulge more into a conversation or a topic that we're discussing, then it's kind of hard for me to kind of find reasons to take away that was a good date, if you know what I'm saying. This girl was like talking to a fucking wall, man. It was miserable. It's rough sometimes, man.
Yeah, there's no
I need
back
someone
and forth.
I'm like you guys too. Like I'm often very reserved, especially when meeting new people. So if you're more reserved than I am, that's a big problem.
Then nothing's ever going to get talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, that's good.
That was a good question.
That's good.
Yeah,
Good
solid.
question.
Thanks, Girth. Ace of Spades writes in and says, "Hello, meaty boys, back at it again with 2 questions, one for Garrett and another to all of you. Garrett, it's high time. I've been dwelling a lot with Hunt Showdown and lost many battles, but won many wars. It runs smoothly, nothing wrong with it most of the time, and it's only crashed once. So I ask a dire question. Did you expect that it would have been more buggy? Now to all of you. This goes with the last podcast with Garrett saying Hunt Showdown is unforgiving, and it is. I have yelled and screamed with madness from dying inside, my soul dwelling with rage and anger, but my spicy boys, it was positive rage, wanting to get better and sorry, I'm reading this from far away, Ace, and really to kick ass in the game. So here's my question. In moments, have you all had time where you have become the fire and it was a positive rage instead of flipping a bed? I've seen Preston flip a bed before.
That's incredible. That's gamer strength.
That was at our
That
apartment.
gamer rage strength, dude.
Call this a pro gamer move.
That's amazing.
Flip a bed.
Yeah. Thank you all for your hard work, and Garrett, we got to slay some monsters. Ace, yes, we do. I've yet to download it on Xbox. I want to. And I'm glad to hear it's running smoothly. I imagine even on console, they've refined the game almost to a point out now that the 1.0 version is about to release, finally. They've come a long way, so I'm excited to hear that it runs well on Xbox. So I'm gonna jump in here pretty soon. But have you guys ever had positive rage that is like I'm mad that I lost, but I'm also it's fueling me to improve, whether it's at a game or a sport or something?
Yeah, not as much video games. That's more just straight rage.
Yeah.
I guess sports, yeah, especially if I'm on the cusp of getting better. I guess there's some some positive rage that can go with that. Video games, I guess I've gotten so mad to the point that I just channel that into being better. So I can definitely see where he's coming from, but most of the time I just want to smash a wall.
Yeah.
So
I get that. I have in Hunt, I haven't had any like total rage moments. I've definitely been frustrated because often, not always, but oftentimes when I lose, it's typically my own fault. But it's more frustration knowing like, oh, I've lost money in the game. I've wasted resources. I've lost a hunter that I've invested a lot of time into, especially if I've played a hunter and I'm almost max level to where I can retire him. And I get to like level 49 out of 50 and die at the last second. It really sucks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that game's encouraging because you're rewarded for every single thing you do. You get paid for NPC kills. You get paid for hunter kills. You level up quicker based on your actions. Your investments typically pay off. Like, I'm going to pay for this really expensive rifle that's extremely deadly. Now, there's always like pros and cons to everything you choose, like your tools and your consumables and your weapons. That's how it's so fun to feel like you're always being rewarded, and you also pay for your mistakes doing things. That's why the stakes feel higher than ever for me in Hunt, even versus like typical Battle Royale, because there's always reward, sacrifice, and risk involved with every decision you make, whether it's choosing your loadout, choosing which monster or which boss to pursue, and what your strategy am I going to be stealthy and be all guns blazing. So that's why that game is so addicting to me, because there's just so much factored into it at every moment. So in that sense, that's why I've always been encouraged to continue trying to improve at Hunt, because there's just so much involved. So I can relate to Hunt as well, Ace. But what about you, Jacob?
Yeah, if I remember the question correctly, it's been a second. It's like something that I get mad at, but also like it drives me to do something. Like, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Have you ever been positively pissed that you're pissed off, but you're fueled to continue on in spite of it?
Okay. Yeah, I often feel like that when I play Apex. For whatever reason, going back to the rank mode that was put in this season, for some reason I'm just super drive to want to really, see how well I can place. So, anytime I get pissed off, I kind of like try to catch my breath and, just kind of like think, what could I have done there to maybe have won that engagement, and just stuff like that. And, I try not to let myself get too mad. Sometimes I do get mad, I'll fucking bang my desk or something like that. But, it's not like how I used to throw controllers or punch holes in the table back at our apartment. It's nothing like that.
And hide the holes with books.
Yeah, put books over them.
Literally every single book on that table was strategically placed to cover a hole that Jacob punched.
Right.
And so there was one time a book like slid over, and I was like, oh, what's that? And then I like took all the books off. There's like 5 huge holes in an IKEA table. Yeah. I was like, how did all of
you
these
eventually broke the table in half?
I did. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And what's terrible is that it wasn't even my table. Like I think it was Garrett's.
It may have been. I didn't care, but I remember you kicked the closet a lot too. That metal closet. You guys had like a bunch of dents in the closet.
I didn't have to pay for that.
Yeah, they didn't ever say anything. It was one of those situations where it was like definitely a literal elephant in the room, and we never heard anything about it. We weren't charged for it. Jacob destroyed the closet door. So it's funny because I've seen Preston flip beds, and we've all thrown controllers and stuff, but nothing's more ravenous than the time I bit a stick on my controller and ripped it out like a wild beast. So never been so mad. I've hit myself in the face with controllers because I've been so mad I want to hurt something, so I hurt myself. I mean, this is all years ago. I haven't had rage moments like that in a long time. But there was one time where it's in our podcast. You can hear it in intricate detail. But I bit onto the stick of my controller and ripped it out of its socket. That was pretty gnarly.
Wow, that's.
I feel like they should make flavored joysticks just for that occasion, because there's got to be a lot of people out there that bite their sticks off when they get pissed. So just imagine appeasing that crowd. I think there's money to be made there.
Yeah, one of my favorite pranks is to have people lick Nintendo Switch cartridges. Just whenever they're around, I'm like, "Hey, dude, lick this." They're like, "Why?" I'm like, "You should just lick it, man." They're like, "Okay," and they're always like, "Ew." Everyone always panics when they lick it. So it's kind of a douche move, I guess, but. I don't know if you knew this, like they're coated in something. I've yet to taste them myself, but they're coated specifically to be disgusting. So if a kid sticks it in his mouth so he won't choke, they'll instantly spit it out because it's so gross.
Did you really not try it?
I've never tried it.
I tried it like the first time I had a physical Switch game,
Mm-hmm.
just to see what it was like. It's gross.
was it?
It's true. It's really gross.
What would you describe the taste as?
It like it's weird. I don't even know. It's just like instantly vile. And it just like you just like the tiniest touch of your tongue, and you're just like, oh, and it kind of stings too. Like it's hard to describe the sensation too. I don't know. Just do it. Just try it.
It's preventing choking hazards around the world, so
Yeah.
bless them for it.
Maybe be a real man and actually eat it.
Up.
Yeah. But Ace, thanks for your question, man. Looking forward to playing some Hunt with you in the near future. Hopefully this week. That'd be fun. I'm going to download it as soon as I get home tomorrow. You have my word. Scarlet Speedster himself. Excuse me, I got tongue-tied there. Sam Harris, we're back. He says, "O gracious overlords of gaming, I beseech thine all-knowing knowledge." I'm honored. He says, "I have a query that must be answered post-haste. It seems that the next generation of consoles is arriving next holiday season, and this means one thing. The new console debate. Sony or Microsoft? Blue or green? Boxers or briefs? Microsoft has dealt its first hand. How will Sony respond? Will there be discussions of teraflops and processors, or will it just come down to exclusives like it always does? I pray the answer to this query with all thine knowledge and fortitude. The fate of our gaming minds depend on it. Have a wonderful week, and may all your gaming fantasies come true. P.S. The reboot of the IOG Masters is in the works. Can't wait to share some of the new adventures." You and I both, Sam Harris. I know Jacob, I'm sure you're excited as well to
100%.
reboot the old YouTube channel with our video content. I'm excited. Sony or Microsoft? Well, I'm going to get both.
Are you really?
Wow.
Are you gonna get an Xbox?
Yeah, that's really weird. Yeah, I always get both. I don't know which I'll get. I think first, depending on whatever comes out first, I'll just pick up whatever comes out first.
Okay,
but-
answer me this though. What if when the new Xbox comes out, every Xbox game that is playable can be played cross-platform with PC and console? What then? Like, say you could play Halo Infinite with Zach from your PC while he plays from this new Xbox. Would you still
yeah,
get
absolutely.
one?
Yeah, I'll stick to PC for sure. I mean, if there's a reason to pick up the whatever Scarlet's going to be called, then I will absolutely. What was I going to say? I'm really distracted.
I don't know.
I will pick it up if there's a good reason to, but if all Xbox exclusives, which we know Halo Infinite will be on PC as well, then I'll stick to PC. But not PS4, the next PlayStation I will pick up, notably for exclusives, just as I did PS4. So
Right, yeah.
that's my answer. Zach, I imagine you'll go with Xbox.
Yeah.
You got to play that Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach, what are your thoughts on the new Halo? Are you excited for it? I know we haven't really seen anything, but are you excited? You still like Halo?
Yeah, I am. I'll always be excited for Halo. It's kind of my first love with Xbox, besides the standalone Obi-Wan game.
Did you like 4 and 5?
4, yes. 5 is not a Halo game in my eyes.
Multiplayer is pretty strong, but campaign is bogus.
So
for me.
when that game was in development, they said, you know what? We're not going to have split screen. I said, you know what? You're dead to me. So that really is my fondest memories of Halo are playing split screen with my friends. And I know there's a lot of things where I am incredibly biased towards things in a completely unfair way based off of my own nostalgic value that I put on something.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll admit to that.
That's how everyone is.
So it did not start off in a good way, but I agree. The story just got so ludicrous. I agree with Garrett. It shouldn't be canon story for Chief.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am excited just because it is Halo. I did love the little trailer. I thought the trailer was super cool. Love the simplicity of his armor in that trailer. But yeah, I am excited. I'm really excited. I'll always love Halo. I'll always love Master Chief. Just the amount of storytelling that goes into that, even if it's not the greatest story, is that whole world is impressive. It's awesome. So yeah, I am excited.
Gotcha. Nice.
Jacob, I imagine your thoughts on the console situation are probably pretty similar to mine.
Yeah. So say the Xbox and the new PlayStation come out the same day. I probably wouldn't get either unless there was a day one game that I had to play. Like I don't know, Horizon 2 or God of War 2 remaster or the remake version. I don't know, anything. If it's just going to be like Last of Us 2 remastered on the PS5, for example, I probably wouldn't crop it day one. I'd probably wait.
What about Sekiro Golden Hour? How do you feel about that?
Sorry, what was that? You broke up.
How about Sekiro Golden Hour?
Sekiro Golden Hour? Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I love it.
I just always hear you talking about Sekiro, and I didn't know what it was until I was just randomly walking through a GameStop and I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's what Jacob's talking about.
Yeah, Sekiro was great, man. Zach, have you ever played a Dark Souls game?
I have not. I mean, I've seen playthroughs and stuff, so I know exactly what it's about. In fact, I think I may have watched you play for a few moments of Sekiro when you were streaming.
Yeah. It's fun.
I like to stop in on my Facebook feed and check in on my boy, Jalka.
I appreciate
My
that.
boy.
That's my boy right there.
My boy.
I saw you and Andy, my brother, discussing shoes and food or beaches or something on one of your...
Yeah, tuned into one of my Doom streams. I got to talking with him for a little bit. It was good to talk to him.
Yeah. Old Andy.
Old Andy's growing up.
He's growing up.
Very much so.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Consoles.
Sam
Harris, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation as well. And all of you out there, if you have a preference, of course, we'll know more about these consoles, I'm sure, either by the end of the year or very soon after that. But as far as Xbox is concerned, I'm just excited for Halo at this point.
Yeah. And,
of course, anything else PlayStation has coming outside of, Last of Us and Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima and everything. So I'm pretty stoked, bruh. I'm going to do 2 more questions. I'm not going to do all of them tonight since we're running out of time. But Slim Jim Stem writes in and says...
nice name, dude.
Yep. Good day, gents. With the first images showing up at the Netflix rendition of the Witcher series, what are your initial thoughts? Does it look like a glorified filming of some cosplay costumes? Do you think they will implement the story with an overarching story for a season or with multiple side quest relevant stories to see the life of a Witcher? Keep on keeping, fellas.
I'll go first because I have a short answer.
Okay.
I never played much of Witcher. It looked incredible. It's, me in video games, I just go through phases where I play a lot or I don't want to play this certain type of game, even if it's an awesome game or even if I end up playing it on the road years later. And I've watched people play a lot of Witcher 3. You and Evan specifically.
Yeah.
Looked like a beautiful game. Looked like it played like a beautiful game. And seeing the first images of Henry Cavill. What a strong jawline that man has.
Yeah, he's got a strong.
He looks good.
One of the strongest.
He looks good. He's he definitely is that gray or white hair really suits him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's looks distinguished.
Honestly, he wore like a pink wig and probably still
he
look
looked good. Yeah, he looks very distinguished. A medieval George Clooney, if you will.
Absolutely.
But yeah, those are my thoughts. So
great. What about you, Jacob?
Oh, I think the costumes look good. I have no complaints. I only took a quick glance at them as I was scrolling down my feed on Twitter, but I think they look good. I have no complaints so far. I want to see a trailer.
Yeah, the only cosplay looking costumes I've seen so far were like Nilfgaardian soldiers. I saw look pretty rough, but
yeah,
granted,
I think I saw
it's one of
Garrett
those situations where
Yennefer.
So many costumes are improved in post these days. Like even Spider-Man's suit is like probably like 25% visual effects these days, even in the films. Even when Tom Holland's just running around in like a practical Spider-Man suit, there's so much done in post to make it look even better.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Netflix would do the same thing with Witcher. I hope visual effects wise they have a budget hopefully similar to Stranger Things season 3, because Stranger Things season 3's visual effects are outstanding.
Great. Yeah, it looks great.
Especially for a streaming show, which is awesome. And I'm hoping that Witcher, because there's so many monsters and mystical battles and magic involved, you really need strong effects, and if they're dinky looking, it won't be as effective. Granted, I mean, it is probably the first season is going to be somewhat of a test run, because obviously, I mean Netflix has a lot of money, but if it tanks, they won't continue. But of course, we're all hoping it's going to be great. I do think Henry Cavill looks pretty cool. Yennefer looks cool. Ciri looks cool. I do wish Henry Cavill had more cat-like eyes from the video game version of Geralt, but at the end of the day, I still think he looks cool, and I cannot wait to see the show in action. I hope it is killer.
Nice.
So, did you already talk about this, Jacob?
Talk about what?
The costumes. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
It was brief.
I'm excited for the show. I hope it's awesome. So I'm those images they released are pretty cool to me.
Agreed.
So big finale is coming from Glowstone. I'm pretty sure Glowstone's a girl. I like to address people properly. If you're not, I'll just say them or they if you prefer. Glowstone writes in and says, now most of you boys know Borderlands has had a very stylized intro, or had very stylized intro sequences and introductions, including a title for each character like Axton's Commander and Tina's World's deadliest 13-year-old. What I want to know is, what would your title be?
I haven't played much Borderlands. Can you give me a few more examples?
Think of a title for like any athlete that's come out, like Michael Jordan, the Blazing Stallion.
Oh,
That's not his nickname.
That's what they call him?
No. They call him the GOAT.
What are sports, man?
What are sports?
What is sports?
So this is
Like,
hard because I've never
so
played
like,
Borderlands.
It doesn't have to be Borderlands related. Just what
like
would
if
your
you-
personal title be?
Oh.
Zach Bynum, the Ricky Prangus of.
The Ricky Prangus? I would like to be Zachary, the negotiator of righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's great.
Okay.
What about you, Jacob?
I'd probably be.
I'm sitting across from the negotiator of righteousness right now. How are you going to top that?
I would probably be like the
Jacob Alka, breastplate of righteousness.
Breast of the wild.
That's straight from the Bible itself.
reminded me of Bible Man.
Yeah, exactly. It is the breastplate of righteousness.
It is, yeah.
That's got to be Jacob.
What was his sword
There
called
you go.
again?
That's it.
What's that, Jacob?
Didn't he have a sword? What was that called?
Yes, the sword of the Spirit, helmet of salvation, boots
yes.
of peace, belt of truth, breastplate of righteousness.
See, I'm a fake fan. You know all this.
Mm-hmm. I was a hardcore Bible Man fan
That's
back in
awesome.
the day because he was the Batman of the Bible world.
Yeah.
That's
So I loved
incredible.
him. You ever see this?
I know who you're talking about,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bible Man! Bible Man!
Whatever happened when he fought against the army of talking vegetables?
Oh, you mean VeggieTales?
Yeah, didn't he battle
They
them?
never had a crossover. I saw Bible Man live one time.
That's amazing.
It was pretty cool as a
I would
stage performance.
they'll probably call me like Stinky Rangus Steak of Angus.
Yeah, Jacob Angus, Stinky Rangus. There you go.
I think you should be Jacob the Stank Wrangler.
Oh. See what you did there.
I think that's pretty suitable.
I think you could be a stank wrangler.
Dude, speaking of steak, I had a dynamite steak the other day, guys. It was a nice old ribeye, perfectly cooked, medium rare. Whew. A
They got
little bit of
cherry pie
A1
that'll
drizzled
kill
on
ya.
top, baby. It was so good. That's all.
I'm happy to hear that, Jacob.
Oh yeah.
You and I should share some steaks sometimes.
You're telling me. Let's go have one before we go down to Zach's.
Post haste.
Actually,
Or with Zach.
you can just wait because Andy makes the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Are you serious?
Being
kidding
dead
me?
serious, better than my dad's, better than 5-star restaurants.
Wow.
And I've had some fairly decent steaks in my life, and he's done it 3 times in a row. It's no accident. The boy
Wow.
can grill.
The boy can grill.
No, seriously, it's incredible. It's almost scary how good the steak he makes is.
How did he figure it out? He just make it up on his own? Or look up a
it's
recipe?
a surprise.
Is it?
Just wait for your taste buds.
Mm.
Just wait to taste buds.
Wait to taste Andy's meat.
Buds.
I'll taste that meat.
Yeah, I want that meat in my mouth.
Succulent, tender, juicy meat.
I want it all over my mouth.
My title would be Slothman.
Slothman.
Nice.
Giraffe guy.
Giraffe
I
guy.
don't know.
What does that mean?
Dweeb.
I think it should be G-Dog Bilson.
Yeah, that's exactly who I am. I need to tell the
Still
story.
the funniest story.
I maybe you've told this story at least once before, but my mom back in the day was terrified of social media before it was ever referred to as social media. You know, like MySpace is around. I was never allowed to have a MySpace. And my mom's like, your information's out there. You're going to get kidnapped. I've heard stories. So Facebook came around. It was brand new at the time. And I, of course, wanted to sign up because everyone around me started talking about Facebook. I'd never heard of it before. I'm like, what is this thing? I figured like it's brand new. My mom probably has no idea what it is. So I'm going to make a Facebook page. But just in case she had instilled this fear in me that I could be kidnapped and murdered. So I, instead of using my name GarrettDrake on Facebook, originally my first Facebook profile was named G-Dog Bilson.
G-Dog Bilson.
That's
literally the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That's the first name I could think of. And I'll never forget Zach Rivera was one of the first friend requests I sent. He was one of our good buddies in high school. He's like, "Oh, dude, the G-Dog Bilson's in the house." And everyone's like, "Everyone, G-Dog Bilson's here." That was like the
G-Dog
joke.
Bilson. Just Bilson?
Yeah, I was
Bilson?
Yeah, I was G-Dog Bilson, and I remember on MySpace I was like Corn 47 or something like that.
Well, that's a really good name. That's a rare one.
The band Corn, because I really liked Corn at the time when I was like in middle school. So I had a secret MySpace page called like Corn 47. Yeah.
We recently got a big corn stalk dog toy for Archie, and we could take the leaves and put it around his head so it looked like he had a giant horn, a unicorn corn.
Yep.
And then we made up a song about him being the corn cob king. It was great. We have a good time with our dog. I don't know if he has a good time, but
You're the righteous negotiator?
the negotiator of righteousness.
Yeah, negotiator of righteousness. We have Jacob Angus, Stinky Rangus, or breastplate of righteousness. And
Also the stank wrangler.
yes. And we have G-Dog Bilson. So I think those are pretty solid titles.
Those are good names. I like them.
Glowstone, let us know what your title is on Discord if you're willing. And that goes for everyone else, everyone's personal titles. Like, obviously, Sam Harris is The Flash, Scarlet Speedster. What are other Flash nicknames?
We got Bongles.
Boggles?
Bongles.
Bongles?
Yeah.
Who's Bongles?
Bohongalis?
Oh, Bongales, yeah.
Yeah, I call them Bongles.
Bongles. Kyle, we love you. I didn't see any questions from Kyle this week, but I'm sure he'll be back in time. I hope he is. I miss you, Kyle. Miss you all.
He's been floating
Everyone,
around.
that's going to be episode 206, right?
Right.
206. Oh, yeah, 206. It's Obvious Podcast. We got to talk brief spoilers about Spider-Man because we promised it. We don't have to go too in depth. We're out of time, unfortunately.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler
Spoilers.
alert.
I'll make my piece real quick. Of course, Mysterio was phenomenal. I love the reveal that his whole plan was to get a hold of Edith the entire time. He was a disgruntled
Beautiful.
Stark employee. I love how he tied into Civil War with Barf and how Tony screwed him over. And I like his whole attitude about just being annoyed and wanting the performance to be perfect, and how he wore a mocap suit to have like the visual effect of the Mysterio suit go over him and look cool.
Amazing.
I love how they even brought back the guy from Iron Man 1. He was also in A Christmas Story.
Ralphie. Yeah, I couldn't agree more about Mysterio. What pretty much the only way to modernize a character of Mysterio and almost keep him exactly to where the origin's from. That was pulled off flawlessly. One of the most accurate adaptations I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And Jake Gyllenhaal was phenomenal, of course. I think visually and even story-wise, I loved the what's the word I'm looking for? The trance sequence, or when he's putting Spider-Man
when he's in and out of a dream state, essentially.
Yeah. And he's using all the
House of
drones.
Mirrors and
the
like House
effects
of
were
Mirrors
incredible.
and the high school and the various suits he goes through.
beautiful.
All the Spider-Men pile onto him, and of course the zombie Tony Stark comes up.
Especially right when he acts like Nick Fury's rescued him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then he's
Brilliant.
like, "Are you serious? You're gonna fall for that?"
Yeah.
And then right into a train.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool, Kanye.
Thanks,
Thanks, Kanye.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, that's something that's pretty significant in there. I loved. It's not really a spoiler, but I feel like you and I can relate to Ned and Peter when we were in high school, because we were certainly in a phase where we were chasing girls our age, and we could totally relate to, like, dude, we're gonna be total bachelors.
Dude, help me.
in
Let me
Europe.
see. You switch seats.
Yeah.
You gotta help me out. And it
Zach
just
and I
goes
have like a million stories
totally
like that.
sideways and wrong.
Yeah.
I just say the very big spoiler at the end when he's in New York, and J. Jonah Jameson,
J.K. Simmons himself back in the role.
back in it.
That was
excited
huge.
about that.
Different interpretation of the character, which is cool.
Right.
Also more modern, where he's like a show host
Of
or a podcaster.
.net,
or
of like the
something.
dailybugle.net or something.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I missed the hair. Gotta be honest, I missed the hair.
Yeah, I missed the hair as well.
But at least he's still the same actor playing the same character.
Yep, he's back. The only one to truly transcend the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then, Peter Parker's identity be out there. That always is kind of like, I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want it to stay hidden. I love the antics that Peter Parker has to go through to keep his identity hidden.
Yeah.
But the amount of trouble that he gets in from people knowing who he is and people being just like, are you kidding me? He's like a kid. I love the stuff that comes with that too. So I think it's double-sided coin there. There's a lot of stuff that can come from him keeping a secret identity and then him being known. So I'm excited about that.
And I've heard a lot of great points made where in the MCU overall, I think almost all the heroes, their secret identities have been revealed. So it kind of makes sense that Spider-Man would also be among them in that sense. And also, again, I don't pretend to be expert on any certain lines of comics, but I know there's a version of Peter Parker who is known by the world as Spider-Man, and he has like Parker Industries where he's sort of like Iron Man, but he's like obviously Spider-Man and makes suits and has technology. And sort of just embraces the role of like, yes, I'm an Avenger, yes, I'm Peter Parker, but I'm also Spider-Man. And of course, his whole world is flipped upside down because of that. And I like to think if he's a big deal in the world now, of course, he could take Miles Morales under his wing, kind of like Tony took him under his wing. So at this point, if this isn't just another illusion, because I've also heard another argument, like what if what Peter saw in New York on this big screen is also just another illusion that only Peter saw as like a threat to like confuse him and like have him
I don't know
these
about
crazy
that.
things. I think it's legit. I think
Right.
I think,
but I'd see where you're coming from. I think it'd be cool.
yeah, his identity's out there, so he has to like fully embrace being an Avenger now. Like he can't go back to school after that. Like how do you go back to school?
You're
like
homeschooled now, bud.
So he's got to fully embrace being an Avenger in the MCU, which is pretty exciting. And again, it's totally different for what we've seen on screen for Spider-Man. So in that sense, I'm also excited. But
Hey, but he's got the girl now. That's the only reason he wanted to be at school. So
He's got the girl.
and also like to see how, I guess Ned too, but how MJ could play more of a role in his life as like his actual helper. Like she's also intelligent because she goes to the science school. I'd like to see her instead of like Mary Jane and the Raimi trilogy, just kind of like the damsel in distress. I'd like to see her like be like his intelligent right hand woman who's like behind the scenes,
kind of
helping
step
him.
in like Pepper did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that'd
agree.
be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So but there's a million directions they could go. I'm very excited. Not only just the greater MCU, but Spider-Man in particular with Tom Holland. What else they can do with his character? I mean, there's still a million directions they could go, and just what they've left us teased with at the end of Far From Home is super exciting.
Yeah. I do want to say again, I really did like how Mysterio had like this, how do you want to say it? Like projection technology. I thought that was a really cool take on
Super cool.
just like a classic
Tied it
villain
together.
in
Yep.
Spider-Man.
Love that.
Agreed.
I also love the scene where Spider-Man finally fully embraces his spider sense. Excuse me, as Peter Tingle.
Peter Tingle.
That scene's so rad where he's like, all right, come on, Peter Tingle. And he goes through that hallway on the London Bridge and just like massacres those drones.
So cool.
And I love the part too where he thinks that Mysterio's down and he tries to shoot him in the head and he grabs the gun at the last second.
I loved it. There's a few moments that really showed his like brains, and you're like, oh, that's so awesome, because this time you're like, oh, he's a kid, he's Spider-Man, flips, cool, yeah, Avenger, yeah, but it's you have to like take a step back and be like, no, wait, he's still brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's cool they displayed that in this movie.
Mm-hmm. And I like how he has to do everything on his own in this movie too. Like I mean, Happy's there to like assist him a bit, but aside from just like showing up to get him out of Netherlands and help him provide him with the technology to make the suit, like Spider-Man does everything himself.
He does.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool to see Tom Holland start so young, is how they can totally develop his character throughout the course of all these movies and across not only Spider-Man movies, but Avengers and whatever else he appears in going forward is really, really cool.
Agreed.
So he has a million more things he could do. I'm glad that he's locked in for. I haven't seen heard about his contract in a while. I know that was.
I think he has one or two more.
Okay, and I'd like to think he'd hopefully renew that contract if he's willing to play the character longer, because I think he just kills it, and I love,
especially as he ages. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah, just to see him grow into like adult Peter Parker would be so cool.
I think we desperately need to stop making a new Spider-Man every few years. Like I really just want one to kind of exist.
And I think now that it's under the wing of the MCU, I think that's a guarantee.
Agreed.
Because everyone, for the most part, as far as I know, many people are very satisfied with this version of Peter Parker. Everyone seems to love Tom Holland, and he fits very well into this universe. So I think we are for sure going to have like a continuation of Tom Holland for a while. Hopefully beyond however many more films he signed up for. But one other major spoiler we should talk about is the fact that Nick Fury and Maria Hill were actually the
Skrulls.
Yeah, the Skrull couple from Captain Marvel. That who knows how long they've been masquerading as Nick Fury and Maria Hill,
right?
Because they've been around obviously since the 90s.
I'm really excited to see that whole tie-in. So I guess we're headed towards Secret Wars. I guess
possibly
is
maybe.
Kind of what that might
That's
be.
the talk of the town. It seems like Kevin Feige likes to take known stories in the comics and then kind of put a twist on them, which I really appreciate.
He did well
it's like
with the Infinity War
what a lot of
saga.
people know, but it's also flipped a bit, so it's like also fresh for people. I know very little about Secret Wars. I've heard about it a million times, so I don't know like all the intricate details of how that story plays out. So, and it also seems like the Skrulls are interpreted as good guys in the MCU, whereas in the comics
They're not,
total
yeah.
supervillains. So I'd like to know who else has been a Skrull in place of certain characters would be interesting. How long they've been portraying Maria Hill and Nick Fury. And I've also heard another cool story, like, is Maria Hill even a real person, or has she just been someone the Skrulls came up with? Because we saw her appear in the first Avengers film. We never saw where she came before that. So
That's a good point.
And
She could have been infiltrated the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard in the comics she's like an established character who's a real person, but in the movies they've never really explained that. So that'd be kind of cool.
Good point.
Nick Fury's out in space with the Skrulls, deep space somewhere. The theory is that they're creating S.W.O.R.D., which is like the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they defend, I don't know if it's the galaxy or just Earth from cosmic threats. It could be possible. But what's another spoiler that we're leaving out? Like, cool. How'd you guys feel with the action sequences in the movie?
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, especially for not having the elements that a big cities bring, or you know what I mean? I guess the cities we're used to.
Yeah.
I thought all of the surroundings and atmosphere and destruction and everything was really well done.
Yeah, it was really cool seeing what was that first city that they were in when one of the elementals invaded?
Venice?
Yeah, Venice. It was really cool seeing Venice kind of like in panic and just everything
holding
falling
up that
apart.
bell tower.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, because you always see like that place. It's always like so glorified in any kind of, any film or movie. So it was kind of cool seeing that other side of what could happen to a place like that.
Yep. Loved Venice. Loved, I think they went to Prague at one point. Never saw Paris, but we did see London. And even like driving through the mountains of Austria and stuff. That stuff was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Austria was definitely cool.
And I do like how Tony Stark's, I know some people have saying like, hopefully it isn't always like this, but I like how Tony Stark's, like how people describe it, his shadow is looming over this movie a bit. And I like to think that because we're just off of Endgame.
Yeah.
It should be.
He recently died, and I like how he had such an effect in Peter's life too. He's almost like a father figure to him. So I'd like to think the qualities he sort of instilled in Peter tie into Peter being like being in a leadership role, not only for like the Avengers, but also, like I said, Miles Morales. I think it's gonna be a big part of the next movie.
Yeah.
Right. I think my last thing, I think we've covered. I think the last thing I want to talk about is they did a super good job of explaining the blip, pointing out the things that happened since the blip,
And also in like a comedic
and
way.
just making it funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. The way that whole thing started out with the
like the tribute to the fallen
that was
heroes
great.
and stuff.
I just enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah.
The student announcement was brilliant. That was
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
So good job.
One thing I want to ask you guys before we wrap up, what's the next MCU movie? Have they announced any more?
I think it's going to be the Black Widow movie because they're currently filming that. Nothing else has been announced, but I know that Marvel Studios is going to have a presence at San Diego Comic-Con coming up.
Okay, that's
And
gonna
they're
be
going to
exciting.
have a full panel, so I think we are guaranteed big announcements, and hopefully they talk about Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Yeah,
I'd say with that, we'll probably get release dates for Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, and Guardians 3.
Probably.
that's
Yeah.
probably a safe bet, especially since what's his name, James Gunn is back at the helm.
Correct.
Yep.
James Gunn is doing it again.
And I'm more excited than ever that Thor is teaming up with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
I even want another Thor. I really like Chris Hemsworth as Thor, especially
too.
Thor 3 was so good.
Yeah, Ragnarok's one of my favorite MCU movies, definitely.
I felt weird about it at first, but I've grown to love it.
I love Taika Waititi's humor. I think he's hilarious. Like the second time I watched Ragnarok, I liked it even more than the first time.
But I'm also one of the few people that love Thor: Dark World. I thought Dark World was an awesome movie.
See, I've never had a problem with Dark World either. I don't know why people
yeah,
dislike
I
it so
liked
much.
it. I thought it was a great movie.
Mhm.
I didn't like the first
was
Thor. I
fine.
thought the first Thor was really boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to like say any of them are like really bad. I mean, Marvel
Well, true.
has a formula and they've pretty much nailed it at this point.
So, is there anything else we're leaving out? I don't think so.
Man.
Anything big?
I mean, it's not like we need to go through all the story beats, you know? People
Yeah.
should go and watch this
I know
movie.
there's theories about the building Peter flies through with the atrium.
About Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I could either be like the Fantastic Four's building, or it could be Oscorp. Yeah.
Right.
Either way, I'm up for whatever.
Yeah, I'm down.
I just hope that if they do Green Goblin again at some point, that he looks more like the test version they did for the Raimi films, where he actually has a goblin face.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Because they've had like 2 incarnations of Green Goblin on screen now, and both have been pretty shabby. So I'd like to see like
Yeah.
a really cool version of Green Goblin.
I didn't like how they did it in Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't like that at all.
No, I didn't like that either. Zach and I still joke about Harry Osborn in that movie. What are some of the lines he says?
I think he's a good Harry Osborn, but I didn't like the Goblin.
Yeah, I can't remember. He says
A couple
some,
lines like,
Dane DeHaan has some funny lines.
yeah.
It's like Peter Parker. It's like Harry Osborn. When they first
Yeah, awesome.
Harry Osborn. Peter Parker.
I think the Osborn in the original series though was the best Harry Osborn.
Agreed. James Franco.
Yeah.
Shout out. What up, Frank boy?
New Goblin, bro.
Yeah, new Goblin boy. I like to snowboard in the sky.
Snowboarding mask too, it looked like.
Yeah, sick snowboarding mask.
Dope,
James Franco.
Yeah, I think we've talked about everything.
All right, well, let's get out of here.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm excited for MCU. I'm excited for more Spider-Man. Love to hear your thoughts as well. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning into episode 206 of the It's Obvious podcast. We apologize for the fashionably late arrival of said episode. We will get it up as soon as possible. Granted, if you're listening to it, we got it up eventually. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all of you who've written in for community questions. We can get to the rest that I have left over for next week. And please continue to send us to them because I think we only have a handful left from our backlog that we can get to. But continue to send us questions. Let us know your thoughts on the MCU, Spider-Man, anything gaming related you want to talk about. We look forward to it. And again, if you guys want to join me in the Master Chief Collection, I'd love to play that with you. Hunt Showdown on Xbox if you want to play it there.
Apex Legends.
Love to play with you. Apex Legends. Jacob and I will hopefully crank out a video this week and get the YouTube channel rolling again.
And lastly, Zach, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Thank you, community, for listening to me for an hour and a half. I appreciate that. It's good to be back. It's good to be back with the boys.
Honored to have you, and we love you to bits, Zach.
Thank you.
Love you,
all
bud.
to bits.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
But ladies and gentlemen, hope you have a wonderful day, week, year. And thank you so much for your support. We will catch you again very soon.
See you guys.
Later.